I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right. There's no way that I would have been able to do what I did in the last hour without the intrigue that today is going to be awesome. Day 2, NHL Draft, Locked On Senators live stream here. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller. And Pillsy, I'm not in the studio. I'm in the war room, buddy. The Sens have some work to do today. What are you most excited about here when pick 33 coming down the pipe in any minute?
Well, I mean, everybody knows, Ross, that pick 67, that's where all the teams target to make their steals of the draft. The Ottawa Senators, an absolute fleece job getting that added to trade back just 2 picks to still get the guy they want. A guy we've always wanted the Sens to get. We were stoked from the very moment they drafted Logan Hensler. We're Logan Hensler guys all the way. Wisconsin's Logan Sensler. Get all the Sens puns in that you want here. We're fired up that he was available at 23 now. Maybe not in the past, but now we're all the way in.
Hilarious that when he was on TSN 1200, our guy Creature asked him, "Hey, you been to Ottawa, right? World Juniors? Like, what'd you think of the town?" He goes, "Yeah, there's this big mall we spent a lot of time at." Yeah, feel the excitement, buddy.
Hanger Outlet Mall, right?
You ever heard of the Rideau Canal? Creature said. Great question, Creature.
Great question.
And you know what he said? It's a bucket list item now. You gotta skate the canal while you're on this side of Earth.
Hey, as good a smooth skating defenseman like him, he'll have that canal done in a couple minutes there and back, just doing laps.
Do you think, let's get the chat involved here. Do you think you could skate the length of the canal before Logan Hensler skated the length and back of the canal?
What is the official distance of the canal?
Chat's going to have to help us out. I know it's the longest skating rink in the world on
like
a good
12K?
Day. Close.
I think it's over 10.
Somebody has to have that knowledge just in the back of their head.
I thought you, the tour guide of Ottawa, would have that off your dome.
I know.
We used to do boat tours up and down there.
Yeah, people who know Paul's boat lines back in the day know that I was selling tickets, hustling tourists. Although it wasn't really hustling because they got an unbelievable. I used to say, "Hey, you ever been to Niagara Falls?" And they'd say, "Oh, it looks amazing." I said, "You should check out the Rideau Falls. We go right up to the waterfall. It's unbelievable. It's like a 10-foot waterfall."
Our guy, Nick Spence, saying 7.8 kilometers. I don't know if I could do 8.8 kilometers in one go skating.
Before he does 15.6? Math
Probably, guy. Ross, I think you're undervaluing how good of a skater Logan Hensler is. Let me tell you about Logan Hensler. This guy is a big right shot defenseman, as you heard me say in the Sens video that they posted after. He's a smooth skater. He's got, 14 years on me. He's got a lot more energy, a lot more cardio. He's an athletic kid. Yeah, I got to say I couldn't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I probably couldn't either.
Yeah.
I like Dale writes in that he could skate to the Beavertail Hut and eat a couple of Kaloa sunrises before he skated the length of the canal twice.
Nice.
Same, bro. Even
what,
a hot
what
chocolate
is a Kaloa sunrise?
Educate it's me. The one, it's got cinnamon sugar and lemon squeeze, if I'm correct on that one. It's a nice simple one. Like, I think Beavertails have kind of gone off the rocker a little bit.
Nah, well, this maybe, Ross, we're gonna be different here. I'm not a simple Beavertail guy. Give me the Oreo, the score one. I want the extra drizzle. Like, just
you want a bit of everything,
cinnamon or something. Doesn't do it for me. Like, if I'm going for a Beavertail, like, might as well load on the calories there.
Are you the same way at, let's say, like a gelato shop?
No, I would
like an ice cream store. Like, what was the one that was attached to Tim Hortons for a long time?
I think it was just like Tim Hortons ice cream. Like, they just
were
doing ice cream for a bit. Oh, marble slab?
But it had a name. But yeah, the marble slab stuff. Like, they add in like a bajillion things. It's like, are you even eating ice cream, or is that just like what's holding everything together?
Yeah. You want some ice cream with those toppings? Funny enough, we're talking about ice cream, Ross. I was thinking of an analogy. I think you and I, when we were looking at who the Ottawa Senators were going to select with their pick, we wanted to be handed an ice cream cone with sprinkles, marshmallow, like something where you get handed it and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, wow, this is so flashy. This is so colorful. This is so bright and it's so exciting. But we got the best slice of vanilla with like chunks in there. Like you don't see the chunks right away, but they're in there and they're amazing. And everybody that's tried that ice cream that we hadn't tried ice cream yet is like, nice.
Matt's got it. Cold Stone Creamery is the one that was attached to Tim Hortons.
Sprinkles you guys wanted, those aren't even good. They're terrible. So I think we're in a good spot with the ice cream we got here.
Yeah, Always Sens says plain vanilla ice cream, very underrated.
Yes, can be.
Ice cream or gelato? Gelato, right?
Yeah, gelato. Yeah.
Ring of Honor season's coming up. Give me your top 4 gelato flavors as day 2 of the draft's about to go. We'll get to our best available as well.
I gotta put vanilla in there. I just talked a big game about vanilla.
Vanilla gelato, though. I feel like vanilla, you want that thick ice cream.
But like Ross, like a French vanilla, like a French vanilla bean.
En français.
Wah, French.
How do you
vanilla.
say French vanilla in French?
Francais vanilla.
Vanilla, nice.
Now that's probably throwing a little Italian on there. I like a cappuccino one. Oh, we lost you there.
No, I got the sniffle. I've been running around like a madman on 2.5 hours sleep tonight.
Yeah, that's insane.
The baby did not care that the draft went late last night. Didn't care.
Lily, not a Logan Hensler guy?
I know, they got the same first initial too. Like, come on.
Yeah, geez, unbelievable.
Yeah, c'est dommage. Vanille Française, our guy Alex, Sens fan in QC. I knew he'd have our back. Let's go.
Thank you. Sorry, Alex. My grade 9 French education does get me far. I'm trying. I appreciate that, though. We're glad we have Alex on our side here.
You're missing out on like one of the best gelato flavors.
Okay, hit me. I haven't had gelato in a while. There's not a good gelato spot in Collingwood, unfortunately.
And I can't even imagine. The one I used to go to, people might know this one, Piccolo Grande. I'm not sure if it's still there, right off of Beechwood. Unbelievable.
Okay.
Anyways, pistachio. And imagine having wonderful pistachios chopped up in that.
I don't know about our guy Eric here. Black licorice gelato? That's gotta be a joke.
Yeah,
that's a joke. This guy's always joking. He's never said a serious thing in his life.
So funny, dude.
Hey, I got a whole new set. Well, a whole new setup's maybe pushing it, Ross, but I'll tweet the setup on Twitter. I'm using my monitor for the first time so that I'm watching the draft, but I got eyes here and I'm tried to line it up so the monitor's right behind my screen, so I'm not talking like this while I'm looking at the draft. So hopefully it comes out that way, but a little scramble for me too, Ross, getting all this tech set up, setting up a monitor on a Harry Potter board game and plugging it in and trying to find how to properly do the multiple screen windows. This is a big tech day for your guy Pilsy here.
Yeah, this is a professional podcast, as we like to refer to ourselves to.
Ross, quick, 10 plus 2?
83.
83. If you guys didn't get that in the chat, you need some math lessons. Everybody knows 10 plus 2 is 83. And 83 is how many points Logan Hensler acquired in 32 college games. Unheard of for a freshman defenseman.
Do you know what the most embarrassing part of all that is? I was trying to be a funny guy in the reply. Our guy Kadri Sens was the first to call it out. Hey, was that a typo? And I went to type in, no, everybody knows 2 plus 10 equals 83. But do you know on the iPhone, if you do 2 plus 10, and then when you put the equal sign in, it automatically puts 12. Like I had to manually
fake it.
I couldn't even fake it. And then when I deleted 12, and then click space again, 12 showed up again. I couldn't get away. I couldn't get away from it. I was like,
your AI is like, there's no way this human is this dumb. Like, how many times I got to say 10 plus 2 is 12?
Yeah, awesome. Sens fan and QC, appreciate you, buddy. This is a non-sponsored show. This is just us being guys being dudes watching hockey. Should we talk about a little hockey?
Let's talk about it.
I didn't give you my 4 pistachio flavors. Shout out wonderful pistachios, but
pistachio flavors.
gelato flavors.
Well, pistachio's in mine. Pistachio Pilsy over here. Pistachio gelato actually is great. So I'm in.
Yeah, way better than pistachio ice cream. You
Yes.
got to go with butterscotch in there too.
Okay.
Just a nice, like, a little bit sweeter. I like that. And then a dark chocolate, like a dark chocolate gelato scoop. Yeah, I'm all for that on a nice hot.
And are we talking cup, waffle cone, sugar cone? What are we going here for?
No, normal cup. I'm just a guy who enjoys the taste of gelato. I don't need it masked with other things.
Yeah, I prefer a waffle cone, Ross, but it depends on the occasion and location, because the last thing you want to be doing is walking around like a city and you're doing the sideways lick on the waffle cone, catching the drips and stuff. Much more professional, responsible, mature to have it out of a cup with those little tiny plastic spoons.
However you have your gelato, it's delicious. I'm going to have one later today.
Yeah, we need a gelato sponsor, Ross. Let's get working on that. If anybody knows a local gelato spot in Ottawa, let's get that going here.
Yeah, where's Piccolo Grande? I supported them for a long time. So, speaking of which, the NHL Draft, they're doing that thing where they say that things are going to move quick and they don't. So, while we're waiting for the first pick, why don't we take a look at our best available players?
Great idea.
And it's kind of interesting because our average rankings, which is the number on the left that you're about to see, that is when we do the profile. So as we get further and further in the draft, the numbers don't actually reflect as much. For example, our 50th ranked player, Daniil Prokhorov, remember we added him in and we're just like, this guy is like very lowly rated and wasn't even ranked by a number of people. I think Bob had him at like 70. And then all of a sudden final rankings come out. He's 36th on Bob's list.
Yeah.
48th on Craig Button. So like I would use the left column a little bit less as this thing moves along, but I've updated the final rankings of the scouts that if you're following along on Twitter last night that I was using on the graphics that were all completely correct. There is nobody needs to correct anything on those graphics. So Malcolm Spence, Blake Fiddler, those are the two highest players on both your and my list. Who else were you, let's say, surprised that didn't go last night?
Let's see here. I mean, again, I'm a little surprised, Ross, that Jack Ivankovic wasn't one of the goalies selected. He was decently high on our rankings, and if you wanted a goalie, it seemed like he was going to be one of the guys to go for.
Dude, how about the range on Ivankovic? Craig Button has him 12th on his rankings, and can you please read off what Elite Prospects has him at? That's not a typo.
Whoa! One of our only triple-digit rankings at 109 for Ivankovic. Okay.
Yeah. Not even close. Hey, interesting. And it is kind of with an asterisk because Logan Hensler, for one, but also Will Horkoff and Cullen Potter all used to play at the USNTDP, but they're all early birthdays. So they left to go to college. Cullen Potter left mid-season. The other two, I believe, or did Horkoff leave mid-season as well?
He left not even mid-season, Ross, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go through
second
my notes
semester,
here.
I think. So like December.
Yeah, like he didn't even make it to Christmas.
Yeah. So anyways, nobody. Oh, there's Simon Wang. That's going to be one of the storylines to watch, though. Second day of the draft. Where's Simon Wang going to go?
I must be a little behind you.
Oh, no. That's too bad. I guess I am closer to LA here in Winnipeg than you are in Collingwood.
Yeah, that's how that works here. Maybe I'm not on live. No, I'm on live.
Okay.
They're just showing notable day 2 selections for me.
No, not even close. I got Cosentino. Great suit, actually, by Sammy.
Okay.
He's got the baby blue with the
now
gold.
I see our guy Simon Wang.
Okay, so no spoilers on my end, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on here. I got a direct feed to the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles, but it's a long way to say that there are 0 players that finished the season with the USNTDP drafted in the first round. First time in a long time that's happened. Jack Murtagh, probably. the betting favorite to be first off the board, but then William Moore and Cole McKinney all have a chance to be that guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised that Malcolm Spence, Blake Fiddler, and Jack Murtagh were not selected in the first round. That certainly was a surprise. But I mean, I guess, Ross, at some point, like there's only 32 available spots. Like we can't say that for everyone. Like really the only guys that went in the first round that we were surprised about was the Russian goalie. We didn't know much about him. Riker Lee I had going near the end, so that wasn't surprising. William Horkoff, I don't think either of us thought would be a first rounder, eh?
Pilsy.
Yes.
Scoops. Oh, we should probably tease who's coming up on the show, but the Senators might be making a trade. Do we have a trade button? We need a trade button.
I got a panic button. I actually found the panic button, Ross, when I was plugging in all this excessive technology I have. It's collecting dust underneath my desk, flipped upside down. So I must have had a emphatic panic button throw or something because I didn't place it there on purpose.
Jordan Spence from the LA Kings could be an Ottawa Senator.
Oh, okay. Nick Spence is a big day for the Spences.
Yeah. Bruce Garrioch tweeting that out. Sounds like the Sens are trying to acquire right shot D Jordan Spence. And then 1 minute later, the Sens are closing in on this deal for Jordan Spence. Bruce Garrioch will join us in 20 minutes, unless he is now busy.
Jordan Spence, quick elite prospect search, Ross. Nation, Canada, and Japan.
Nice.
But place of birth, is this Australia or Austria?
Depends.
It's just AUS is typically Australia, right? It says Manly AUS. Well, Manly, the Sens love this guy if he's from Manly, although he's under 6 feet.
I know.
He had a good year last year. Damn, 28 points in 79 games plus 23. I'm not familiar with Jordan Spence's game.
Is he RFA?
Let's see. Let's work on that. LA Kings. The Kings have a lot of cap space. Holy, 21 mil. Jordan Spence is not RFA. Is 1 year left at 1.5 million. So that's nice. I wonder what kind of value is going to have to go back for them to get him, though. That's going to be a sought after player for sure.
That's interesting. What do you think it's going to be? Maybe that pick.
You're ahead of me, so you should already know this. And the chat has said, but Simon Wang, first pick off the board.
That's actually a good spot for him.
If you would have told us, Ross, before this that Malcolm Spence, Jack Murtagh, and Blake Fiddler were available and Simon Wang was selected ahead of them, not by the Ottawa Senators, I never would have believed you.
But think about it. San Jose has so many prospects. And I know on D, they're probably lighter than they are up front. But that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Very
not as interesting as Jordan Spence, though. And we're going to get to that as things develop here. Let's tee up the show. Sens Prospects. Our guy Henry is going to join us in a matter of moments. Then we'll have Bruce Garrioch whenever he is available. Then we're going to have Menno Versteeg. No pressure, Menno, but your dad put on a show when he was on last during the season. Sens Central Citizen. Menno's such a beauty. I'm excited because he's just going to be the most positive dude. I was like, we need positivity no matter what happens at the draft. So we got that going for us here. And then we're also going to be joined by Stephen Halliday later on in the show. But let's get to a place that looks beautiful right now. It's Henry. What's up, buddy? Where are you?
Oh,
what's up, guys? I'm up at the cottage, 30 minutes north of Ottawa. It's great.
Oh, man, that's awesome. And is that like a weekend occurrence, or how often do you get up there?
Yeah, this is the first weekend of the year we're up here. It's definitely like a Canada Day weekend tradition to be up here. I'm often up here for the draft. I think maybe the last time I talked to you guys, I was up here too. So it's good.
Everybody knows all the best insider information comes from a cottage somewhere in Ontario. So we got a lot of good scoops coming up here. I'm expecting big things from you.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I don't know if you saw Bruce Garrioch tweeting the Sens might be getting close to acquiring Jordan Spence. You know much about him?
Yeah, I love that. I was watching. Yeah, he's Australian, right? You guys got there.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
It's like another two-way right-hand defenseman, kind of like yesterday's pick. You can never have too many of those guys. I'm in, man. I'm in if they can do it. We're kind of worried about the cost, but let's see.
Yeah,
Imagine if it's just the pick that Ottawa got for trading down.
That
I'm
would
getting
be
people
great.
unnecessarily
It would not.
excited.
It would not
It
be.
is. It's the 67th pick and a 6th and 26th. Breaking.
Are you serious?
Wait, are you being serious right now?
Per Elliot Friedman.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's smooth.
Wow. I'm in.
That's an incredible trade.
That's smooth, Stevie.
Oh,
That is smooth.
Henry starting off with a bang. That's a great report there.
Henry
That
Friedman.
That's huge. That's great. I'm
I
in.
feel like we're being pranked right now. That is way too good of value there. Like he had such a good year last year, and that's the exact type of guy this team needs.
Yes.
So the decor is filled out now then.
Ooh, so where do we put Spence with Shabbat if Jensen is out?
That's probably where you start him because it feels like the reason why Jordan Spence is getting this fresh start is, well, one, it's a contract year, and I'm sure he wants to play a little bit more. Right shot defenseman, you got Brant Clark coming and Drew Doughty not going anywhere in Los Angeles. So maybe it felt like a fresh start, new opportunity. So in those circumstances, you probably don't want to throw him on a third pair to start. Not that he's going to dictate the lineup, but let's take a look at Jordan Spence's career numbers. He is a QMJHL graduate. Here, if I can zoom in a little bit on this. Hell yeah, good timing, right to start the show. A little breaking news.
Great.
His second full NHL season, just had one AHL game last year and was a elite point producer. Geez, in the AHL, 42 and 46, and then 45 and 56 with the Ontario Reign. Played 5 playoff games for LA this season, 5 last season. Hell yeah. I didn't realize he played World Juniors too in 2021.
Yeah,
Only a couple of games.
That year he was traded in the queue to Val-d'Or, and he played with Max Gannett. And the team went pretty far. I forget if that was the COVID year though, but they were a really good team that year.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
So
let's take a look at how this ended up, Ross. Our guy Spiegler. Sens get Hensler and Spence for pick 21 and a 6th rounder.
Huh.
Like the value on that is insane. Steady Stevie. This guy knows what he's doing.
Swift Stevie at this point. I mean, that's just elite asset management. Something maybe we're just shocked because it hasn't necessarily happened over the years. But being able to turn that, I mean, now we've got some Jordan Spence talk to fill because we're now off the clock for a draft pick until 97. Is it 97, 98? The back-to-back is hilarious too. Jordan Spence is what, 24 years old? If he played with Gannett Juniors?
24. Yep. 5'11", 190 pounds, right shot defenseman, drafted in 2019, 4th round, 95th overall by the LA Kings.
Okay, well, with that said, what's his contract again?
1 year left at 1.5, then he's an RFA.
Ooh, 1.5 too. So you're looking at, I'm looking at what we had as an availability to sign on the right side in our very, very detailed budget that we did a couple weeks ago. And we were saying like, you probably have about that much to spend. So they're right in the wheelhouse. RFA after this deal. Henry, if you're Travis Green right now and you're drawing up on the back of a napkin or maybe the back of a coaster, enjoying yourself at the second round of the draft, what's your first pair with him? Let's say Jensen's healthy for argument's sake.
Well, like the first thing I'm thinking though is like this gives, maybe some buffer for Jensen. It also probably reduces any like Yakimchuk pressure, right? But pairing wise, oh man. I don't know.
Good problems when it's not easy just to slot him into
Shabbat?
an empty spot, eh? Yeah, I think you should play with Shabbat. I mean, I'll admit I'm not fully dialed in on Jordan Spence's game, but I think you're not breaking up Sanderson and Zub, right? I think
or Clevin and Matt and Paolo.
But I don't know, like if Jensen's healthy, like he's not the odd man out, and you don't bring in Spence to have him as a seventh guy. So I think Matthew Powell is probably the seventh guy,
Yeah.
and then I think eventually if Spence is on the third pair with Clevin, I think then it seems like from the points he produces that he would be the guy that would be transitioning the puck up the ice, and Clevin would be the yin to his yang, being more physical shutdown guy. So that's a pair that could work out as well, but certainly good problems for the Sens to have here.
Good problems. And now it's about figuring out the forward core, right? Because now you're set on defense and you've got just over $9 million. Let's see if Puckpedia has updated the team after this. I was not expecting this. Yeah, $9.25 million in cap space now.
Yeah,
for the Ottawa Senators. And we did hear a little birdie say that Ottawa was interested in Sam Malinsky as well in Colorado. And that same person, and I mean, Sam Malinsky, Jordan Spence, pretty similar players, both puck moving defensemen. I'd say Spence is better than Malinsky.
And at least he signed. Like Malinsky is an RFA.
Yeah, and he's got more NHL experience than Malinsky. But the person said that Claude Giroux's contract might have been in the back pocket, which I don't know if I believe anymore with the way that it's kind of gotten public from Giroux's camp. Because we know Pierre LeBrun has been tweeting a bunch about Tavares a couple weeks ago. And he was one of the first on Taves as well. And last night saying Giroux wants to be a Senator more than they want him. If that's not a word-for-word text from an agent, I don't know what is. One of those things, Henry, how about this? The tweet that came up last night was Pierre LeBrun saying there's no way that Tavares' AAV comes in under $5 million. Well, guess what? It was the 4.6.
It's just a dance, right?
Yeah, big time. Well, hey, Ross, we got Sens prospects here, and we haven't even asked them about any prospects. Henry, I'm sure you're aware of Ross and I's roller coaster of emotions with the Logan Hensler pick. We're on the top now, though. We're all positive. We're all in now, so don't worry about trying to sell us. But take us through your initial reaction at the Sens trading back, and then when they were able to select Hensler with 23rd. Just give us the whole rundown of how that went for you.
Okay, well, the quick rundown, I think you gave Ross the heads up, but I got up here at about 8:45 last night. The power went out. So I was offline until 7:15 this morning. I had no cell service, no Wi-Fi.
Wow.
The last time I was up here and had no idea what was happening was 2012. That we didn't have Wi-Fi at the time. So you had to drive into town the next morning, buy a newspaper, and I think that was the Cody Ceci draft, right? So,
that's awesome.
So anyway, I listened to you guys first thing in the morning to get your take. It killed me because I remember your projections ahead of time, but I didn't have like the roller coaster of live emotions. I kind of just got to, I think everyone went through that when it happened, and now we're sort of understanding the pick a bit more or buying into it, right? And there's just a lot of positives, right? Like slow start last year, sure, but that's kind of probably always going to be the case as a true freshman. Love that I went to two of the Team USA World Junior Games in Ottawa. I remember seeing him. He'll no doubt have a bigger role on that team this year. The Big Ten is going to be like the conference to be in the NCAA this year, right? If you have Gavin McKenna at Penn State, Kevin Riedler at Penn State, you have University of Michigan, like he's going to be developing in the right spot. And like, again, how important are these like two-way right-handed D in the league? Yeah, I'm in. It makes sense. What I'm hoping to see with some of the next picks, I know now we traded one, would be let's get maybe a little bit more skill, high-end skill. Let's take a risk here with the next pick whenever it comes. But I'm into this pick, man. I missed it? Did you guys do comps for him, like NHL comps for him at the moment?
The one that we did was what Elite Prospects had their shades of Noah Hannafin. And look, we had to go into last night's episode with the understanding that both of us were lower on Hensler than others in that range. I think we had some goggles on of just looking for dynamic skill to help, and we're maybe overlooking what a reliable presence could do for this organization at a position of need. But that all to say, the way that I comped him at a low end, it feels like there's some Nick Jensen in his game. The skating, the ability to move the puck, but maybe not produce as many points. So that's kind of my floor for Logan Hensler. Is that fair for you, or where do you go with that?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I saw the Hockey News had Rasmus Anderson as his comp, which I think is like, pie in the sky. Maybe I wouldn't shoot that high. Damon Severson is a guy that I think could actually be a good comp. I mean, look at Severson and Nick Jensen. There's a lot of parallels. So I think this fits here too. And yeah, it's like, I'm not expecting him to be doing much in the O zone. It's about what he does in the neutral zone and the D zone. And just like, he feels like he would just slot in so nicely with probably Shabbat long term. You want to talk about as like future horizons and stuff. We can get there too. But also, man, how about now there's going to be 3 Sens prospects on Wisconsin next year. That's my dream.
Wisconsin's, Henry.
Exactly. Oh man, you guys are ahead of me. So
with that, Henry, like we were actually a little bit harder, I think, on Wisconsin last year, and we got some notes being like, hey, they're changing the culture there. Like it's happening, but still a lot of losses were piling up. I think it's when Blake Montgomery got drafted last year. We're just like, I don't know about Wisconsin eventually being the spot for him, but it looks like they've kind of built from within. They got good coaching staff. So you think that's a great place for him to be next year and all those guys?
Yeah, strong spot. They just got a new coach, I want to say 2 years ago, and really kind of going through the program overhaul. So new people working internally, the transfer portal and stuff too. They lost a lot of their high-end talent. And it's been a bit of a tough go. So Tyson Dick actually transferred there from UMass because of that, because of the new coach, right? Incoming coach. I think he was at Minnesota Mankato beforehand as an assistant, and then went to, someone can fact check me on that. But it's like I said, it's like a quality program, right? Plenty of NHL alum have come through there. It's in the right division, right? You're going to be playing like top tier competition. And I think it'll, they're on the rise. I don't know if you guys have talked to sort of like the Brad Schlossman of Wisconsin is Todd Maluski. So I'll give him a shout out. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. It's like they're a big enough university to have like a dedicated beat reporter too, which is great because some of these schools, the guys go and play there, and it's like it's really tough to get an idea of what's going on if you don't have that reporter or someone on the inside giving you a heads up, because some of the smaller schools just keep their cards super tight to their chest, and you just kind of have no idea what's happening with lineup decisions and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's a positive too that he's at Wisconsin, because he's the guy. Like you mentioned, if he was anywhere else, or not anywhere else, but most other spots in the Big Ten, he'd be a lower end of the lineup. He's not getting those opportunities. Like Logan Hensler only had 12 points, unless you ask Ross, he had 83 points, 10 plus 2, 83. He only had 12 points, and he was playing on the power play. So he's going to get these opportunities. And one of the big things I hear so many people talk about, and you read scouting reports, is he really turned things around in the second half of his season. And fair enough, like coming into NCAA as a freshman is not an easy task, especially when you're kind of the top guy there. So it really bodes well that he figured out the offense. His playmaking and decision-making got better as the year went on. So I'm excited for the Wisconsin Badgers season, and I'm definitely going to go see a game there. I've heard Madison is a cool spot. I've never spent any time in Wisconsin, so it'll be sweet, I think. I'm excited.
Me too. And I will say, I can't believe Malcolm Spence wasn't drafted. Someone just said that in the chat too. He was top of my list. Ideally, we would have got, get both the Spences. We got one. Would have been great if got two, but it's
still available, dude. We can still trade up.
What?
Jack Murtagh, 40th to Philadelphia. Carter Amico, his whole family commented on our profile that we cheated him for 15 pounds of weight. I was like, I'm just going off elite prospects, man. I'm not trying to cut him down a few spots in the draft. And I definitely wouldn't say it to his face. He's 6'6", 235. And I know that like the back of my hand now after all those comments.
Hey, I actually respect that though. I love family members going through videos and being like, this friggin' guy, he said he's 5 pounds shorter. I'm gonna set him straight. Let's let him know that our son is actually 5 pounds heavier than he's being portrayed here. I got respect for that. Your family's gotta be in your corner. Now, I hope some families haven't fully watched all of our videos. Hopefully, if the Hensler family has been following along, they've been following along the whole time. They didn't just block and unsubscribe after our prospect profile. But that's what you got to do. You got to be in the corner for your family at the draft.
Hell yeah. And Carter Miko screams Philadelphia Flyer too with that size. Final one for me, Henry. We appreciate the holiday for joining us. You'll be back later this summer, of course, to chat about the Sens top prospects. But just first glance, Carter Yakimchuk, Logan Hensler, top 2 prospects. Is there a bigger gap? If that's your order, is there a bigger gap between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3? And let's take out goalies. So Marilainen's on the side. I know, I saw that face.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Bigger gap than from 2 to 3.
Okay.
Really, it's sort of like now we have 2. We have 2 guys that we're paying the most attention to. Everyone else, it's still
3 coming up later on today's show. Stephen Halliday.
Yeah. That's it, right? He's
Stud.
Would you guys be comfortable with him as 4C to start the year?
I want to see him in camp, but I don't think that I'm out on it.
Right.
But I also think that Belleville's going to get such a makeover this season that depending on who his wings would be in the top line down there, it could be nice for him to be on a high scoring AHL team because he led that team in points, but nobody was really head and shoulders, else on that level offensively. So that would be my caveat, that if you want to help develop his offense for one more year, I would understand that decision.
Totally.
Yeah.
We'll see. We will see.
Hell yeah. Well, we appreciate the holiday, man. Get back to the cottage, have a few frosty ones. We appreciate you. And congratulations too. Just got married. So we're really happy for you, and enjoy the start of summer, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate being first ahead of this lineup too. I could not have followed any of them. And yes, we're 1 week into this guy on my fingers. So thanks so much. I'll tune in for the rest of the afternoon. See ya.
There he goes. Make sure you're already following him on social media at SensProspects. Just one of the biggest beauties going. Such an awesome dude.
Ross, I don't know if you know what happened while we were saying goodbye to Henry there. The Detroit Red Wings acquired John Gibson.
Oh, did they? That makes sense.
Like what? But they also have Peter Mrazek at 4.25 and Cam Talbot at 2.5 million. Like they just are obsessed with collecting goalies. They're going to have to figure something out here. Although I could see teams liking Cam Talbot as a backup at 2.5. But Peter Mrazek, I don't know what the hell they were doing acquiring him at the deadline. That was.
SensProspects says there is no Iser plan. The Iser plan is actually just acquiring as many goalies as you can and just hoping it works out. Jeez Louise, the New York Islanders, they did it. And for a team that had such an amazing day yesterday, they were the team that could take this swing.
You're ahead of me. I don't know what's going on.
Do you want me to wait? Or
no, hit me.
I don't want Prokhorov.
Okay, man. Shout out Matthew Darsh and Ryan Bonus. They're having one heck of a draft. Take these swings if you're the New York Islanders. Yeah, 6'6", 219 pounds. If you guys aren't familiar with him, go check out his highlight reel. Oh my God, he has dangles, huge hits. That's an exciting prospect right there.
It's a hilarious highlight reel. It's men against toddlers out there. Let's go to the West Coast. A man who was at the Peacock Theater last night, if I'm not mistaken. It's our good friend Eddie Garcia from Locked On LA Kings. What's up, fella? Great chatting with you.
What's up, boys? Always a pleasure. You guys are kicking ass again this morning, huh?
Hey, we're just trying to. I slept for 2 hours, 41 minutes, though. That counts for something, right?
You look like you are fresh as a daisy right now, Ross.
Yeah, I got a 7-month-old too. And I was telling Pillsy, she didn't care that the draft went late last night. She was still up and kicking and screaming at 6:50. So anyways, away she goes. How was it at the draft this year? What was the experience like, decentralized for the first time without COVID?
I mean, look, it's always awesome to be at a big event like that. Getting to see a lot of different people from around the league. I saw a few of our colleagues from Locked On, which was cool. JD Young from Locked On Sharks was out there.
He must have been busy, eh?
Oh, you should have seen his shoes, man. He had some teal Air Jordans on that were the
way.
The future is teal.
He had the nicest shoes at the NHL draft, and I'm completely serious about that. He was looking good. Had the teal tie on. He was representing. So yeah, a big day for the Sharks too. I mean, it's maybe a few years, but they are acquiring a lot of talent there in the Bay Area. So I know he's suffering right now, and we talked about that. But in a few years, if he's still doing it, which I'm sure he will be, he might see some fun times there.
We saw that Sharks team up close and personal. They took a lead over Ottawa into the third period, March 1st, and that was a game where we had determined it was a must-win. Ottawa had lost 2 in a row out of the break and had lost 5 straight overall after 4 nations. We're like, my goodness, Pillsy and I's record in Ottawa when we go to games together was like 14-0-1. We needed a win, and Ottawa came through in the third. But that to say, they were a fun, feisty team, and they're going to be good for a long time. But everybody in the chat is screaming at us, Eddie, because we don't know much about Jordan Spence. And if you missed it, the trade that went down just minutes ago, the Ottawa Senators using the 3rd round pick they acquired last night by moving back 2 spots, still selecting Logan Hensler. They moved that 3rd round pick, 67th overall, to the LA Kings alongside a 6th round pick. And in return, they get Jordan Spence, 1 year left at $1.5 million. The stats look great, Eddie. Why was this a move the LA Kings were looking to make?
Well, for whatever reason, head coach Jim Hiller did not trust Jordan Spence in the playoffs. He did not play him.
Wait. Was it Jim Hiller or was it their defense coach? Who is their defense coach again?
That would be the guy.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No. I'm blanking on his name. He came over from the Ducks.
Is it? No, damn. I thought it was DJ Smith.
No, DJ's running the forward group.
DJ played his whole NHL career as a defenseman, so that's my bad. But I was really hoping to walk you into a trap there.
No, I'm I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but he came over from the Ducks, and all the Ducks fans were laughing, saying, "Please take him." And it just has not worked out. It was also running our power play as well. No, you're right. You know what? You're right. I'm sorry. It's early here in LA. It is DJ Smith. DJ Smith. So you were on point there. I was still apparently trying to wake up here.
Buddy, you were at the draft for 45 hours yesterday, so we're gonna give.
I appreciate you making excuses for me. Yeah.
All the leash you need. But so tell me about. So the reason why he's out is that the team didn't trust him. But was that warranted? What type of player are the Sens getting with Jordan Spence?
I like Jordan Spence. I've liked him for a long time. An interesting journey for him to the NHL. Born in Australia, grew up in Japan, where his mom is from, and then made his way to Canada, where his dad is from, where obviously he learned the game there. So undersized, not physical, but I've always felt he was very responsible defensively. He's a good puck mover. He'll give you a little offense. He can run your second power play unit. He's a nice piece, I think, on the power play. Why he fell out of favor, I don't really know. But it became obvious that if the coaching staff isn't going to trust him and they're not going to play him in big minutes in situations in the playoffs, then why have him on your team? So I can't really tell you. I mean, look, he's not physical. He's not going to run anybody into the boards, but I never thought that his lack of size and physical play ever hurt him in his defensive game, as far as battles around the net or being somebody that could, hold his own in the corners. So, I can't tell you why that he fell out of favor, but he did, and he wasn't playing. And the Kings are playing 4 defensemen against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and that's not going to work. So. And this was before Ken Holland showed up. I know Ken Holland, the new GM, has talked a lot about wanting to get more size on the team and defensively. So again, he's not big, not physical, but he gives you a lot of, I think, offensive upside. And I think he'll come in there with a chip on his shoulder. In the exit interviews for the Kings, he was the one guy who was really pissed off. A lot of guys were disappointed. A lot of guys were bummed out about the way the season ended, but it was pretty clear when he talked to us, he was mad. He didn't like the fact that he didn't get to play. He didn't like the fact that for whatever reason, the coaching staff seemed to trust him all year in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, they were like, yeah, we don't trust you. So I can't, again, I wish I could tell you why it happened that way. I think it's one of the big criticisms that Jim Hiller had in the way he used his his fourth line and his bottom pairing. I think you guys got a pretty good little player. I really do.
Yeah, I'm excited. And hearing what you're saying, I'm buying into it, Eddie, because you look at it and yeah, he played 79 games in the regular season, had 28 points. Now, that would lead me to believe, okay, maybe he's just a little bit too risky offensively, but he finishes as a plus 23, like all around. That seems like a responsible, good player to have. And let's talk about the return that the Kings got, because that's even more of a sign to me that they just wanted to be done with him and they didn't see a future with him. They get 67th overall, which is the extra pick that the Sens got trading back from 21 to 23. So just an added bonus. And then a late rounder, a 6th round pick. And the LA Kings are not a team that's trying to get worse or is rebuilding and trying to get 3rd and 6th round picks. So did that return surprise you? Like, did you think he would have a little bit more value? Or maybe it's just, hey, let's get him out of our division, out of our conference, and we'll just take whatever. Let's just move on.
No, it did surprise me. Nobody's surprised that Jordan Spence got traded. His name had been coming up, and I had mentioned to you kind of the circumstances around it. And like I said, I really like him, but if they're not going to play him and they're not going to trust him and they're going to keep the head coach they have, then it makes sense to move him. But I think a lot of people thought that he would be a part of a deal that brought back a player, a roster player now, not assets for the future. So that in that sense, yeah, it is surprising the return that they got for him, because we thought he was one of the biggest chips they had as far as getting a player back for the roster for next season, and that didn't happen. So I would agree that I'm surprised at the return on that.
Hell yeah, Eddie. Well, we appreciate all the insight and coming on right away. We truly
thanks.
we were kind of speechless when it went down, because we had heard the name out there, and then obviously it happens. We're scrambling, searching them up, and we're like, hey, why don't we go right to the source? Someone who's boots on the ground, watching all the LA Kings game and doing a great job over at Locked On LA Kings. Eddie Garcia, we're going to catch up with you later this summer. How about that, eh? We'll look at the two teams, contrast, compare, and maybe a little update on our Quentin Byfield, Tim Stützle discussion, because, hey, we've always been Quentin Byfield guys too, and looks like he is coming into his own out there in Los Angeles. So always looking forward to chatting with you, man. It's always a blast.
Thanks, guys. I definitely would love to do that. You guys are the best we have on the network as far as I'm concerned. No, I mean it. And so anytime you want to talk, I'm more than happy to do so. And by the way,
fun fact,
Newell Brown is the coach that I could not remember. Newell
there
Brown,
you go. Okay, everybody was waiting for that one.
Yeah, I'm sure it's true. I had to get that out so I didn't sound like too much of an idiot.
Well, no, and I'm going to make you sound even more respected, if that's even possible, because you're the man. Those in Ottawa who listened to the Team 1200 back in the day, and now TSN 1200, overnight it used to flip over to Fox Sports Radio, JT the Brick, and it was Eddie Garcia doing the updates on that show. So you were like the soundtrack when my parents were like, hey, you have to go to bed, man. You got to go to bed. We got an early morning. I was like, I just want to listen to sports. So, man, you were a voice of my childhood, believe it or not. So we always appreciate it. And I was shocked when I learned that connection and that we get the chance to be colleagues here on the Locked On Network. So I'm sure there's people in the chat that did the same as me and listened to TSN or the Team 1200 back then, and got to listen to you with JT the Brick, Ben Mahler, and all those guys over at Fox Sports. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You do a great job over at Locked On LA Kings, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks, Eddie.
Guys, appreciate it. And again, you guys do an awesome job. And thanks for having me anytime.
Eddie Garcia. Have you ever been to Ottawa?
I have not. I'd love to actually go to Ottawa. Absolutely.
Okay, Sens Kings Stanley Cup Final. Well, you got a place to stay.
If that happens, you will see me. How about that?
Okay. Okay. I hope it's the same for LA, because I feel like it's harder to get a place there than in Ottawa. So
I'll give you a place to stay.
All right. There you go. Okay, there goes Eddie Garcia. Appreciate you so much, man. There, you can follow him online at Eddie on Fox and all of the social media for Locked On LA Kings. Truly one of the best on the network.
Yeah, what a beauty, Ross. Great producing there. He was not a scheduled guest. Ross thought, okay, we just did a trade with the LA Kings. We got a guy, Eddie Garcia, and yeah, that's the beauty of the Locked On Podcast Network. I know a lot of people in Ottawa aren't fully familiar with it, but the fact that we have a local expert covering each team and we can just be like, hey, we just did a trade with you. We want to hear some insight on the player we acquired. They're ready to go. And for it to be someone as awesome as Eddie Garcia, he was too kind with his words for us about the network, but he truly is one of the top tier guys on the Locked On Podcast Network NHL channel. So we appreciate him.
Just an awesome voice, eh?
Great voice. Yeah, that's an update voice, Ross. I obviously didn't grow up in Ottawa, so I didn't have that experience growing up, but
Yeah.
I could totally see how he's just killing those updates. And he does a really good job too. Oh boy, this maybe I should pass the mic over to you. What's the NHL show that he does?
Oh, Locked On NHL Game Night during the season.
Thank you. Locked On NHL Game Night, where they go over all the big news and they hit through the league really quickly. He does an amazing job on that.
Yeah, and the 50th pick is in Conrad Bonderk. It's quite the name. From San Diego, California.
How about the Flyers getting Shane Van Saggy there, and them, you put him, Porter Martone, like they're building some beefy, hard-working guys on that team. And then obviously you can't forget Jack Nesbitt. Like they're putting together a lot of different style of players. And in this draft, they've got a clear type, and that's going to add to their prospect pool where you got some flashy guys like Zegras, Michkov. Tockett's going to like these guys that they just drafted.
Oh, he's going to love those guys. And we'll do a bit of a recap there after the second round. We've got the man. So we're going from a guy who watched Jordan Spence religiously with the Los Angeles Kings last year. And now we're about to bring in the guy who broke the trade. Let's see if when I bring him in, his video goes on. Oh,
Bruce is probably at the cottage too.
Here he is.
No.
What's up, buddy?
There he is.
Sorry, my dial-up internet here at the rink was not working too well.
Well, it worked enough to break the trade. How does one break trades like that? Because you were first to report.
Of course.
I was laughing because I got a text from someone saying Spence to Ottawa. So I'm thinking, okay, well, there's about 9,000 Spences.
Yeah.
I'm like,
were you thinking it was Malcolm Spence? Like they were trading up to draft him?
Yeah.
That's fair.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, which one? Anyway, and little working behind the scenes. Here we go. See?
How many, like, how do you
Stubs.
confirm that? So you get the initial message, then how do you go about it before it goes on Twitter? Or do you just put in your article, and hope for the best?
No. I made sure I got checked with 2 or 3 people. I sent out about 7 or 8 texts, heard back from a couple, and once I heard back from 2 people who I trust. Yeah. No, I didn't.
Well, he said people he trusts, Ross.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a good deal for Ottawa, guys. I think if you look at it, they didn't give up anything off the roster. It addresses their need for right shot defensemen. I know people are excited about the videos of Nick Jensen rollerblading, but guys, that doesn't mean anything. I was told that he will not be ready to start the season. He is going to play next season because I was initially told that that might be it for him, but I have been since told that he will play next season. But I don't know what the procedure he had was, but it's going to be a while. And to think that a guy rollerblading is some miracle recovery from an injury is maybe a little much. It's a good sign. Yeah. There's no question it's a good sign. I also saw him hitting some golf balls, so that's a good sign too. But it's going to be a while for Nick Jensen.
Could you rollerblade like that?
No, I couldn't rollerblade if
I was going to say rollerblading's tough. I couldn't do it either. The only way I know how to stop is to go on the grass.
I now have a golf cart, fellas, that rolls itself.
Clutch.
I got a battery and it walks beside me.
What do you call that? Laleem's Martian?
Yeah.
No, electronic color. And what's even better about it is I have now figured out how to set it so that I can send it to the next tee while I putt.
That's
like
fancy.
3-putt. Yeah. Anyway.
But what about
That's
when
not
you
why
what about when you putt it off the green and you got to go all the way there to get your
Yeah.
chipping wedge again?
Yeah, that's
Well,
not
then
why
it's
you
in the
brought
right
me on.
spot.
Yeah, then I got to walk over and get it. No, good deal, and what a way to start the day, right? You know, with
Yeah.
a little, with it. This is a significant trade for Ottawa. You guys know that. I mean, this gives them. You know, you look at their defense right now; they're probably set for next season, aren't they? And you know, if they've got Lassie Thompson, they've got him in the, phone call away.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, hey, by the way, just quickly, Pilsy,
Yeah.
you didn't credit us on breaking that trade, but you were supposed to be on with us while that trade broke. So if it weren't for our generosity to push you later on,
That's right. Yeah,
you don't break the trade. So I mean,
that's right. Yeah,
whatever.
I needed that 20 minutes. You
Yeah, exactly.
guys helped me.
credit to our generosity. So we had known, like, when Lassie Thompson came, I don't think that was we've solved the Nick Jensen issue here. I think it was more just, hey, let's retain a good right shot young defenseman that's in our control, and had a good year in the SHL. But was Jordan Spence a guy that you kind of had on your radar as someone that the Ottawa Senators could acquire? Because Ross and I were looking at a guy in Colorado, and maybe you can tell us if we're off or on at this, Sam Malinsky, restricted free agent right shot guy. So Spence kind of seems out of the blue for us, but we just talked to Eddie Garcia. He does Locked On Kings, Kings guy, and he said it was no surprise to him at all that Jordan Spence was moved there because he had fallen out of favor with the coaching staff there. So was that a guy you were kind of keeping tabs on?
Well, I more thought that they might do something on the unrestricted free agent market, right? But I think you have to look. I was thinking about this after. Who's the GM of the Edmonton Oilers? Steve Sales. Who was going to be the next? And he's now the GM of the LA Kings. Who was going to be
Ken
the
Holland?
next?
Ken Holland.
Yeah,
I said
Ken
Steve
Holland.
Ken
Sales.
Holland.
Yeah.
No, but who was going to be the next GM? He was grooming Steve Stales to be the next general manager.
Right.
This is Steve Stales solving something for Ken Holland that perhaps he thought was going to be a problem. This allows the Kings to use that cap space to go out and acquire another defenseman. Someone in my timeline suggested, guys, they've been linked to Cody Ceci. Does that make any sense to you guys, or is
to
this
LA? I mean, maybe they would have seen him play in San Jose and in Edmonton when they played Edmonton a million times in the playoffs.
And I'm pretty sure that it was in Anaheim that Cody Ceci got dangled by a guy without a stick. He kicked it off the boards and went right around him.
And of course, Ken Holland was Ken Holland was the GM in Edmonton when CC was there, right, Pilsy?
Yeah.
So I think you kind of got to do the circle here a little bit. I just think I thought they would have to do something in free agency. I think this, they get a 24-year-old defenseman. I was just saying to the guys in the room, to Julian and Alex and Murray and the guys, if you think about it, if Jensen's a UFA after next year, this gives you a guy who, he's not going to just be a placeholder, but he'll be ready to play the year after. Right?
Yeah, well, it seems like a bit of a theme, right? They did the same with Fabian Zetterlund, getting a guy in the last year, but still RFA. Worked a lot better than getting the first RFA a few years ago there with Alex DeBrincat. I had a question for you that's more so your experience here covering a decentralized draft. What was it like at the CTC yesterday, and what was kind of the order of events, how everything unfolded?
Well, it was long. You guys know, like, I honestly, I was completely wrong about this because I thought this draft would go really fast because I was thinking, okay, you're not going to have 25 people going up on stage to shake the kid's hand and welcome him to the National Hockey League. My only problem with last night was the whole idea of teams saying hello to their draft pick was just a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, what do they call it? The team house or something?
Yeah, the hockey house.
The hockey house.
Yeah, and it was a bad idea. I think if they had because I watched a little bit of the NBA draft the night before because I wanted to see how they worked it. And basically, guy gets drafted, talks to TV, and then whatever else goes on. And I think the National Hockey League, they tried too many bells and whistles. It just became too complicated. And I felt bad for the Senators because, they don't look good on that front. So
Yeah, but they weren't the only team that had technical
no,
difficulties.
absolutely.
So it happened. And I think,
Yeah,
Bruce, I think
that's why I feel sorry for them. It's a big, the draft is a big moment for everybody, and you want things to go smoothly.
How about when they asked James Higgins to wave at the frozen screen?
Oh God.
Yeah, there was a bunch of blunders, but I think too it was especially frustrating for the Sens because I truly believe they got a guy in Logan Hensler that's excited to go there, and I got to assume that talks with them. Like, can you touch on that? Do you have any idea of what the discussions were like with Hensler, and if there was a clear sign that this was a guy they were going to be interested in? I know Don Boyd mentioned he was high on their list, and they would have been happy to take him with 21st overall if they had stayed there.
Yeah, I think my thinking is they must have had a guy, but they must have thought. My guess would be that they just, if they were going to go back, they didn't want to make sure that they lost their guy, right? Like they clearly knew. They probably talked to 22 and said, "What are you doing?" before they made this deal, and maybe there is still a little bit of cooperation, but that would have been made more difficult, guys, by the fact that you're not in the same room.
Yeah.
Although I guess you can have telephone conversations. I was saying to my buddy the other day, he used to be the late John Stanton. He used to be a scout for the LA Kings, and he was a longtime friend of mine. And he would, whenever I went into a lobby, he was there. And by the morning of the draft, he could tell you the top 10 picks easily because he had them down pat. And that's the only thing. They really like Hensler. They want a right shot defenseman. All we've heard about guys in the last month is that right shot defensemen are a premium. Well, they have two up and coming. I mean, this also, like, we shouldn't sit here. I'm not saying he's going to make the team, but we shouldn't sit here and discount the fact that Carter Yakimchuk had a hell of a training camp last year. He's going to come in and push those guys for time as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, I guess down the road, where will this leave Artem Zub? Anyway, but we'll have that discussion another day.
Yes.
I heard someone say he's untouchable. Oh, then I'm out of here.
Well, we're gonna get you back on in the summer, Bruce, and we'll go through.
Because you like to say his name? Come on.
Well, I think
he did not have a good year last year.
Yeah, but Bruce, being a stable partner that your number one defenseman likes to play with, that gives you some job security, I would guess, for Artem Zub. We got to get you. We got to get you out on this, Bruce. Everybody's wondering what's going on with Claude Giroux here. I mean, we thought it was going to be done before the draft. We thought this was closer. And now that the Ottawa Senators have acquired a guy in Jordan Spence, now I'm not saying he's going to come in here and be a savior and he's the missing piece, but they've acquired a guy on a good deal, $1.5 million. I got to assume that's also them kind of showing Giroux, hey, if we have some extra money to play with, we can make things happen without taking guys off our roster. It only costs them a 3rd round pick and a 6th round pick, and he provides Jensen insurance. Do you believe that move is part of the process of bridging the gap to showing Giroux, hey, if you take the discount, we can be responsible with the money that you're saving us? Or is this just a thing where Giroux's like, I don't believe I'm getting the respect I'm due here, and I want to be at a certain cap hit because that's what I've earned?
I've gone through several iterations in my mind of what's going on here because I, like you, you put stories together in advance sometimes so you can be ready.
Well, I was going to ask you how many versions of the Giroux negotiation story have you put out?
I think I'm on my 7th version of the story where he signs. It's, in fact, I keep changing the date, right? So, the slug, So the slot, I think I started out with when they were at the combine in Buffalo because I thought they'd sign him that week. I really thought the negotiation was going to be that simple. I was told that the last offer to Giroux was somewhere in the 2.75 range with bonuses, 2.75 to 3 million with bonuses. I think that he wants to. I think he's probably looking, and I don't know this for certain, so I'm not going to sit here. Nobody radio me. I think he's probably looking at David Perron's contract.
Yeah.
You know, I've asked about 6 teams this, and I asked them in the last 24 hours because of where things are. They all still tell me that this will get done. Okay. And I can only base it on that. But, we've heard the Senators have said all the right things about Claude Giroux, but I think we all agree it's time for the talk to turn to action and just get this done.
How big does things shift if he makes it to free agency?
Well,
does that change everything or no?
Well, then they'll have to replace him. I think you guys would agree he's the best free agent signing this organization has ever had.
Yeah, people can go watch our Ring of Honor draft.
Clark MacArthur would be a very strong second, but
Dominic Hasek too.
Yeah, but he wasn't there when they needed him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I just think that this is a guy that they want to keep. They keep saying they want to keep him. I know he has a very good relationship with Michael Andlauer. Michael Andlauer did say to me recently that at some point he might sit down for a face-to-face meeting with him. I don't know if that has happened. I did ask Michael that question recently, and
wasn't he a part of the first contract negotiations? I thought Andlauer was there.
Yeah, he's skirted by that one. No, because yes, he was. That's right. He was in Buffalo. Yes, but I also think at some point he was going to sit down with Claude, and I'm not sure if that's happened. So they keep saying they love Claude Giroux. Well, I guess what we need to see now is a little bit of love in the negotiation. How about that?
Hey, we all want some love.
Yeah, exactly.
But we also love a little bit of hate on this show, and I'm going to call out our guy Laleem's Martian right here because I pulled it up, and this is from 2 summers ago, okay? So this is before Eunice Corpusalo ever played a game for the Ottawa Senators, but I just went back and looked at our friggin' best UFA signings in Sens history. So what we do every summer, Bruce, maybe we'll get you on for one. We draft teams of 4. And then we put it out to a vote who drafted the best team. And you can't pick the same players. Best Sens UFA signings. Pilsy, very biased, obviously took Hasek first. This is a YouTube exclusive, so I don't have to read them all off for the audio listeners. How about Martian throwing Eunice Corpusalo as one of the 16 best free agent signings?
I mean, to be fair, it was the last round pick.
Yeah, a bit of recency bias there, though, too, right? But
look at that face. That's the face of a guy who just selected Eunice Corpusalo. But I mean, this list also shows you that maybe the Senators haven't had too many.
No, but I'm looking here. I kind of forgot about Artem Zub. Like Artem Zub would be up there. Yeah. No, he would be.
Who wins the draft?
Yeah.
Who wins the draft, Bruce? Who's got the best 4 overall?
All are good. Well, you fall off of Vladimir Tarasenko, Pilsy.
Man, he played really well for them, and they ended up.
Okay, Ross, you win, buddy. I'll excuse you, Joe. I'll excuse you with Joe Clover.
I know, but he had big moments in the playoffs, though. And the very last one we have to get you out of here on is, you have a stalker at the CTC?
Who?
Graham Creech. This came in while we've been talking. Creature says Brucey in his office.
Oh my god! They've turned off the air in the bowl. Oh my god, it's so hot in here.
Oh my god, hilarious. Well, hey, stay cool down there. You deserve a couple frosty ones after a great season of draft coverage. Always appreciate you, man. We'll do this again later this summer.
Yeah, see, the old dog can still break the odd story. Just
scoops.
I have been tarred and feathered by the good people on X.
Not by us, Bruce.
every so often I give them I'm still here.
He's still here. He's still got it. Bruce, we're looking forward to reading that 19th iteration of Claude Giroux signing with the Ottawa Senators.
Just know when you read it, it was written on June 1st.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Bruce. Talk soon.
Enjoy.
Hey,
All right.
thanks, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Bruce.
you. There goes Bruce Garrioch breaking the news today that the Ottawa Senators have acquired Jordan Spence. Guy gets
What a
so much
guy.
unnecessary hate. He's a funny guy.
He's every single time I've talked to Bruce, I've left being like, he's so hilarious. He's confident. He's still got it. Like he says, he's more plugged in than I think people give him credit for. And
I wanted to give it
guy
to him
for sure.
because obviously he took some flack for the Drake Batherson article from the team. Jack Ivankovic to Nashville. Some people had him going the first round in Nashville. He goes 58th overall. We're also going to pull up here in a second the players that we did profiles on. The list is dwindling, but both of us still have a first round pick available. Cameron Schmidt, who both of us knew at 5'7" might be a faller. And he is that. Does Carolina draft 62?
Okay, they got to take him. I had a bet on FanDuel that he would go in the first round, so that one cost me a couple shekels.
Yeah, okay, well.
Oops.
You know what's funny? I lost 2 out of 3 of my bets because I thought over meant higher.
Oh, you messed that up. Dang. So you thought you're cashing in money and it's just going to the wayside. Dang.
But guess what? I'm up. I put $5 on 4 different bets, and I'm up $4 because the one that I hit was James Hagen's plus 5.5. I thought he was going to be a top 5 pick. He goes 7th.
So it's nice it worked both ways.
And it was plus 280. So it ended up covering all my losses there. In a moment, we'll be joined by Menno Versteeg. You might know him from the group Colorado. Absolute beauty. These are the remaining players that we covered here on Locked On Senators. Cameron Schmidt, Ivan Ryabkin. The skill is undeniable, but there is concern.
It's crazy.
I believe I called him an idiot in our last
and that was you
conversation
taking
about him.
Breath and saying respectfully.
Yeah, I did. I did say respectfully. Adam Banak, again, a guy who is 5'7". We're seeing a bit of a trend, but Banak, when we did his profile, we're like, this is one of the best highlight reels we've seen. He was dominant playmaker in the USHL. Mm-hmm. I believe he was the rookie of the year in the USHL as well, if my memory serves me correctly, but Elite Prospects has him at 102. 102. Wheeler at 37. Wheeler loves a small, skilled player. Nathan Boehm, who I was low on him, but not low enough, but he's fallen. And then Charlie Trethaway, who we kind of figured, because this is actually Bob McKenzie's midterm ranking, 32. He dropped all the way out. So we'll see what happens there. Senators still a few picks away. But now it's like the picks are gravy because we said we wanted to add skill this weekend. And Malcolm, I hope I don't do that for long. Jordan Spence is acquired from the Ottawa Senators. If you're just joining us, Bruce Garrioch broke the trade. He just jumped on, gave us the rundown of how he breaks a trade like that. And we also had Eddie Garcia on earlier in the stream. And Eddie was awesome, obviously covering the Kings daily with Locked On Kings. He's a media guy too. He's at Staples or whatever the crypto
Bitcoin or no crypto. Yeah, it's crypto.com. I think.
Crypto.com. Whatever
and
that
Henry,
is.
SensProspects led off the show. So this is
he's the best.
All-time vibes. This and if you guys are used to watching us just in podcast form, we get a little more loose with things. We get a little more casual when we get the live stream going, especially when it's over an hour long right now. We're not even close to done here.
People are probably so mad, those who were here at the start of the show, that we didn't ask Bruce Garrioch for his Ring of Honor of gelato flavors.
That's a miss by us. Yeah. Bruce.
Damn.
What a guy.
He's a hilarious individual. And how about Creature? And I invited Creature on the show. He's on TSN 1200 today. So we said we'd catch up with Creature after the rosters all kind of settle down after July 1st.
Too. Yeah.
Good time to also get to our it's a good time to get to, why don't you give a little tease there about what our summers look like here at Locked On Senators?
Okay. Our summers, we love the off season. Everybody knows that. Just because it's the off season doesn't mean our content gets worse. It gets a little more fun, a little less formal, a little buttoned down for sure. We're going to do our Ring of Honors, like Ross mentioned. I think last year we dabbled in getting a couple different people on the Ring of Honor. Our guy Nick Spence was on one of them. I believe Jack Richardson did one with us. And then Leems Martian, obviously our guy, did a bunch with us. But I think we're going to dip back into the guest pool again for the Ring of Honors. Maybe Bruce will be on one of them. Who knows? We'll see. Starting July 14th, we will be going down to 3 episodes a week, though. Although, knowing us, we'll probably do more than that, but that is the network policy. 3 shows a week from July 14th on into August. And then I think September, we're back to 5 shows a week.
I think it starts the second week, maybe like right around when rookie camp starts is when we hit the ground running.
We're in the works to try to do some fun content for dev camp. Have we already revealed what we were thinking about?
Yeah, I don't think I can make it happen though, so it's unfortunate.
Okay, well maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do a solo trip. We'll see. I love going to Ottawa.
Even though everyone just asks you where's Ross.
Yeah, for 2 things people say: "Holy, you're taller in person," every single time, and then "Where's Ross?"
Dude, I get the "Where's Pillsy" when I'm at the Sens games here in Winnipeg. I was like, it's not a yearly thing that he comes, but you have come out for what? You've been to 2 Sens games in Winnipeg.
Yeah, regular season and preseason. So
yeah, hell yeah,
big time.
That preseason game was sick. Ridley Gregg had that unreal goal and then got kicked out 5 minutes later.
Yeah, and the Sens won twice that game. They beat them in the fake shootout after. So we were living it up after that one. Not as much as we were living it up after the regular season win at the had a couple drinks at the Dale Hawerchuk statue. And
all-time postcast right there.
All-time postcast. That one got off the rails, but it was fun.
It was very fun. You know what else is always fun? Catching up with our next guest. He's got a new album out called Why We Run. It's Menno Versteeg. Menno,
let's go.
You look very cozy there. Where are you right now?
That's a cottage.
I'm cottaging.
Yeah,
of course. No one has this wood in their house.
I feel so left out. You're the second guest we've had of the 4 so far that's been joining us with a wood background at the cottage. Hey, it's Canada Day weekend, right?
I'm going to the cottage after this too, so it's cottage. Where's your cottage at generally, Menno? What area?
Barry's Bay. Do you know Barry's Bay?
No.
It's about 2 hour 45 from Ottawa up towards Pembroke. Madawaska Valley, the first Polish settlement in Canada, and so on my mother's side of the family is all Polish, and they have had a cottage here since the 60s, and it's great.
Amazing. Well, there's pressure on you for this appearance because your old man put on a show when he joined us earlier this season. Is he around?
You mean this guy?
Hey,
there he is.
Here. Hey, how's it going?
Let's go. How are you?
We're good.
We're good. Thank you very much. So nice to see you, gents.
Hey, likewise. You're looking absolutely perfect. You look like the Sens just picked you with a first rounder, I'd say.
He was sitting there. Yeah, he was sitting there with his skates and gear, getting ready. He's still hoping that
Zach Smith eligible, right?
Yeah, he's gonna do walk on this year for sure.
Nice. Yeah. Well, hey, I feel like your play style would probably be like Zach Smith, right? Don't you have his skates? Isn't that what you have at home?
I do.
Menno has them.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, no, my play style cheapers. That's a good question.
And Roger's joining us too.
Oh, man, we got the
gang's
whole
all here.
Bad dog right there.
Yes. Hey, how was the tour, Menno? You were out all over Canada and North America too. You're in the States
all over.
as well.
I was bouncing all around. Just I called it the opening for my friend's tour. Like any of my buds who needed an opener, I was just hopping on. So I did like probably over 80 shows probably since we chatted last. Everywhere, Seattle twice and Halifax twice, playing with everyone from Stephen Page of Bare Naked Ladies, Tokyo Police Club. I got to play with Dan Reeder in San Diego, and my buddies in Elliott Brood took me for a spin out west. And I got to play with Adam Baldwin in Halifax, and then a few, things in Ontario. It's been a real blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good that you're back on the road. Were you on the road during playoffs? I assume so. Tell us about your experience watching the Ottawa Senators back in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I was kind of luckily back in Toronto for lots of it, which, when they did get their wins, it was amazing. And when we thought there was going to be a comeback there for a second, it really felt good to be in Toronto and watch the Leafs fans start their annual sweat. Um, but yeah, no, I love watching the Sens in Toronto, like showing up at the bar with my Sanderson jersey.
Nice.
And the first playoff game, I wore my Sanderson jerseys. I was walking down the street and I was walking Roger, and he had a big dump, and I forgot that I didn't have a bag on me. And so I saw a lady walking her dog, and I was like, hey, can I borrow a bag? And she goes to me, she's like, this in Toronto. She goes, is it for that jersey?
That's actually funny.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, gotta respect that. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Oh,
The amount of flack I
that.
got, because it's a big white home jersey, like it just kind of stands out. And just like walking down the street, you get so many people just yelling at you. And but the amount of people too that like are Sens fans, and like they like start screaming across the street, like "Go Sens!" Like they kind of come out of the woodwork when you wear it walking down the street in Toronto.
That's
So tell us
awesome.
about your experience with the Sens this year. Didn't you take part in the talkathon, or there was some sort of event you were with,
a
right?
couple fun things this year I got to do. I mean, Zach Smith, who's an old bud, he invited me to the gala, which was super awesome. It's a gala that it's called Maddie's, and they raise money for the children's hospice care, the Roger Nielsen Center, and it's like it's such a good cause. Like there wasn't a dry eye in the house when they're explaining what they do and some of the families who've gone through there. It was such an unbelievably amazing cause. It was my first time being there, but I got to sit next to Alfie, which was just so awesome. And so we just hung out and no joke, like I was like, I didn't want to bore him by like how annoying is it to talk hockey with Alfie, but it seemed like he wanted to. And so we just shot the shit for like 3 hours, and he's so down to earth and so cool. And by the end of it, we'd had a few beers, and he puts his number in my phone because I was going to the game the next day. And he said, come down to the dressing room. And some of the players, they claim their wives were big fans of Annie's too. So they brought us, and we were there with my dad and Annie's dad. And so they brought all four of us down to the dressing room after the game. And it was just like one of those, like I felt like we all felt like we were 9 years old again, and got some tours of the dressing rooms and the facilities. And, all the players are just like doing their post-game workouts in their underwear. And, Annie's got the world's biggest crush on Pinto, so he came to say hello, and everyone was so gracious. And a couple of the players wanted to take their photo with Annie. They could give two shits about me, but I got to turn that into a couple of photos, and everyone was just so nice, and Giroux, and it was really one of those amazing Sens experiences that I feel very grateful I got to have. And then at the end of it, Alfie, I don't want to get him in trouble, but he went into the stick room and he swiped one of Sanderson's game sticks for me.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that doesn't get him.
That's a good stick to have.
I think Alfie can do whatever the hell he wants.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. It was beauty. I brought it out to my beer league, and I can't really handle it. It's like way too nice a stick for me. But no joke, like I'm not a good shooter. My first shot with it, I took a shot from the blue line, and it went in, and it hit the goalie in the glove, and he dropped it behind him. And all my teammates were because they'd all seen me talking about this stick, and they're like, you got the magic stick. So, but after that, I hung it on the wall.
Okay, so it was just a one and done.
Retire glory, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not touching that thing again. You don't want to play with magic that you can't harness.
Yes, that's responsible of you,
putting
man.
the ring on. Come on,
yeah.
crazy?
That is so sick. Does he draw a snake on all of his sticks?
There's
I
a
making that
snake.
up?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's
Jake the
printed
Snake.
on there. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
printed. He doesn't even draw it himself.
and it looks pretty. It looks like
Okay.
it's some kind of
Because
like
some guys
stamp
write
or-
they'll write like initials or something on the tape at the top, but he's all
Yeah.
in on the snake nickname. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
sick.
it's really cool. Oh God, he's a great player. And
Dude,
I was reading about the new first rounder that he's
Yeah.
saying that he wants to play like Sanderson. That's pretty great.
Imagine being 22 years old and kids in the draft are like, yeah, that's my role model. Like
I
that's,
know.
that's incredible. Everyone's like, yeah, Crosby, you know, everyone who's like a lot older and more established in the league. Not that Jake
True.
isn't, obviously he's
Yeah.
such a heck of a player, but that's such high praise for, Logan Hensler, the pick, and a right shot defenseman too. So there's a world where one day those two are on a D pair together, and geez, they love the Midwestern boys, for the blue line now.
Yeah,
Montana
totally.
for Sanderson, North Dakota for Clevin, and now Minnesota for not only for Logan Hensler, but Nick Jensen's from Minnesota as well. And I got to imagine Artem Zub is from like the Midwest of Russia. That's
Definitely.
you got to assume that. So you mentioned Annie, your partner, Annie Murphy. People would know her from Schitt's Creek, and obviously had some moments at the CTC this year too on the Jumbotron and everything. A lot of people were thinking when it was announced the Senators were going to have a special guest to make the pick that it was going to be her. We put out on Twitter who should make the pick, and a lot of people said Annie. How do you think she would do?
Oh,
the
she
pick?
would do great. I didn't even I mean, I stay out of the loop so much sometimes, so I had no idea. And Tom Green did an amazing job. He's one of my childhood heroes. I love
Nice.
him. I think he's
Check
one of the
the
funniest
OR.
people. I think that Freddy Got Fingered is one of the most still ahead of its time underrated movies of all time. I think it still holds the record for the most raspberries. And no, he did such a great job. But no, you know what? Annie should push for it next year. I'm gonna put a bug in her ear to say that she gets announced. Do you think that's a thing that they do that every year at the draft? I don't usually watch the draft.
Well, they might
Kinda
not do
have
it
someone
anymore.
announce stuff.
Yeah, they were doing it because it's a decentralized draft,
No,
so
but
not
they
everyone
still-
was there.
They still have people. When we went to the draft in Vegas, and
Celine
Celine
Dion was
Dion
there.
made the pick for
Fair.
the Montreal Canadiens. Joe Thornton made the pick for the San Jose Sharks. So
Okay.
yeah, no. Yeah, get that bug in her ear because we think she'll do a great job.
That'd be so fun, right? And like the players have no idea, or do they?
No, they got no clue.
They really have no clue. So like you're saying the name of some young kid who's worked so hard his entire life, and he gets to end up on the Senators. Wow, couldn't be
Yeah.
luckier.
No, it changes the whole trajectory of their life, like where they're going
Yes.
to live for at least the next 7 years, likely if they're first round pick.
Here's the problem, though. If she's announced in the first round, it's gonna be really, really hard for me not to convince her to try and say my name.
I'll
be
the old
46.
switcheroo.
I'll be 46 next year, and I know it's a bit old for a rookie season, but I feel like at least a few games in Belleville I could get out of it, you know?
That's
I
a
think
diabolical move by you, Menno. Get your wife to announce the pick, and she picks you, and the league's like, well, they have to take Menno Versteeg. That's who they selected.
Picks in.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you're onto something. This is good.
And you know what's
what?
awesome? Too? Hey, this is you
ahead.
pitching yourself too. You should see my shot from the point. All I need is an NHL caliber stick, and I go barred down. I go through the glove, barred down.
Here we go. This is this. I have this stick here on the wall.
Yeah, I want to see it.
You can see. it a
Oh,
little
that's sick.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah, I just put it on top of a
Hell yeah.
painting.
And I love your mentality too, because when you were going into that statement, I thought you're gonna say, yeah, get Annie to say like, hey, want to give a 46th birthday shout out to Menno Versteeg back home. Go check out new
No.
single Bad Dog.
Yeah.
It's still
No,
banging.
all the way. No.
No, I'm actually gonna be a player for the team.
Career change.
I would like to play. Can you please make that happen? Menno, if after watching a final question from me, and we appreciate your time, man, at the cottage, long
Oh, it's the
weekend.
best sketch up with you guys.
Hey, I think this is your 4th time on the show, full on friend of the show, and we appreciate
Anytime.
it.
I love it. We still have to get
You're-
to a game together next season.
Yes.
Next season for sure. And we still got to get Annie on the show. Talk about Shane Pinto. I mean, come on.
Oh,
She's hiding
she'll
from
do
us.
it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sweet.
okay,
This
we'll make it
summer.
happen.
Yeah,
Sweet.
this summer. And we'll
During the
convince her.
summer? Okay.
Yeah, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We
Sens
usually do
Central
one
Citizen.
interview, one Sens
Okay.
Central Citizen, and then
Okay.
one Ring of Honor draft where there's 3 of us and we pick 4 of any given topic, and then everyone votes and chirps each other and says that, yeah, your list sucks.
Oh, that sounds fun. I'd do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, sick. Hey, maybe we'll make it a musical themed one for that one.
Okay.
Like best hockey songs or sports songs.
That's
Best
kind of
songs
fun.
to
That could be
play. Best songs to play at an arena could be a really
Okay.
good one.
That is, I mean, there's a right and wrong answer, and the number one greatest pump up song of all time, and it's correct. There's no other answer. Is Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Ooh, that's you had an opportunity to go for song 2 by Blur there. Sens goal song.
Yep.
I got it. See, there's just a right, and I mean that's a great song. It's amazing. I love it. Sens goal
Thunderstruck
song means so much to me,
great song.
but Thunderstruck is the number one pump up hockey song. Does anyone use it as their goal song?
The Lightning, maybe?
Well, I bet, but it's Thunder, not the Lightning.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know that their intro song for a while was Thunder and the Lightning, or I might have that backwards.
Imagine
but the Imagine Dragons song.
Yeah.
I think it's
no
Lightning
way.
and the Thunder.
Yeah, I don't know it.
What came first, the Lightning
hey,
or the Thunder?
Were you just talking to Bruce about that trade that just came across the wire?
Yeah, he broke it. He's like, hey, the old man. And by the way, hilariously dumb move by me. Pilsy was talking about how great my producing is because we got in the host of Locked On LA Kings. There's a Locked On show for every team. So we're like, hey, we want to learn about Jordan Spence. Somebody's got to be the guy.
Yeah.
So I then regressed right back to the mean. Pilsy, when I sent Menno the link to join the show, I actually had tweeted out recently just a promo that Bruce was on. I sent him the link to watch the show. So he's like, how does this work?
No, that's still good producing, Ross. You're getting viewers. You're like, we would love for you to watch this.
So
hey, you should check this out. We're having a great guest on next.
So I didn't really know much about this kid, but he's young and he looks pretty solid. He played 78 games in the NHL for 2 seasons in a row, basically.
Yeah, and he's young. He's a restricted free agent after this upcoming season, so they'll still hold his rights. Feels like he was kind of pigeonholed in a bottom pair role in Los Angeles, so there's potential for him to be even better. It honestly reminds me a bit of the Fabian Zetterlund trade, where you're getting a guy at that same age group, right, as the other guys. So I'm excited. It seems like he's got a really cool personal story too. Born in Australia, I think his mom's Japanese, and grew up in Canada playing hockey here. So
I read that he
really
was
cool.
the first Japanese person with Japanese actual citizenship to play in the NHL. Is that true?
I don't know.
I mean, probably. I can't think of anyone else. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've got another kind of cool note on that. His agent is former Sens assistant general manager Peter McTavish.
Oh, so there we go.
Yeah,
there you go.
McTavish has 3 contracts and 2 play for the Sens. The other one's Jabril Toure, who's an absolute beauty, by the way. But yeah, Jordan Spence, we like that move, and now it feels like the Sens decor is set for the start of next season.
Yeah, good luck to him. And Zetterlund too. I'm so excited to watch him this season. He's a beast. Like, I always liked him, and he's so strong. He's got that like kind of crazy guy look in his eye. You know what I mean? That I think when that starts firing on all levels, like he's got like the Rocket Richard look, like his eyes, you know, like doesn't he have that like, you better watch it, I'm crazy for goals.
He can deadlift 600 pounds.
3
I know,
times his body weight. Insane.
It's like an ant.
Yeah,
true.
New nickname alert, the ant.
That's the ant. Oh, that's pretty good. Does he have
it? Goes hard. I think it was Biz or somebody was calling him a cigarette machine. They're just small and they are sturdy. But yeah,
the ant is pretty good. Lifts
I like that.
Body
I
weight.
think that's gonna catch on.
All right, let's see if we can make that catch on. I'm gonna put that as my goal for this show.
Okay, the ant. Actually,
it's badass.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way you can incorporate. Hey, Roger likes it. I think that was an approval right there. And we like having you on the show, Menno. We always appreciate having you. I tell them 5 to 10 minutes. We go half hour because we really love the stories. And I've got it written in my notes. There's Hio. What's up, buddy? Love it. Love it. And I put in my notes, by the way, this summer we'll reach out. Best pump up arena songs. Yes. We're going to do a Ring of Honor for that. So stay tuned for that. Everybody in the chat as well are you still touring? Anything coming up that we can promote?
Oh yeah. Colorado to your
reunion.
Yes, we're doing it. We just announced, I know what the heck, right? We just announced 3 shows in Toronto and there's 2 shows in Ottawa. The Toronto ones are all sold out. There's a few left for one of them. Ottawa ones, there's a few tickets left, but they just went on sale and they're going fast. So if anyone else wants to see us play in Ottawa, we're playing 2 nights at Saw Gallery in November. The tickets are available now. Go grab them.
Oh,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
so proud of that. That's sick.
Why
I got
we
2
run?
special ones with your name on
Okay.
it, with both your names on it. I got 2
Oh,
special
okay.
tickets with both your names on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
We're gonna have
All
to
right.
plan a trip
Double the
then.
price.
Yeah, smart move.
I love it. Well, hey, your album's called Why We Run. Well, let's
Yeah.
get tickets to Menno's show with Colorado coming up in November. Appreciate you, man. Enjoy the long weekend, and thanks for jumping on with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Hell yeah, there he goes. Menno Versteeg, one of the best guys
Oh,
going.
man.
Love seeing him represent the Sens wherever he goes. Pilsy, the pick that the Ottawa Senators
Yes.
traded to the LA Kings has been flipped to the Carolina Hurricanes, and we were waiting for the Hurricanes to take a Russian. Feels like they do it every year. Kurban Limatov is the pick. So when years from now you look at the trade in recap, it will speak Jordan Spence for Kurban Limatov and a 6th round pick in 2026.
Although, Ross, this is not the typical Carolina pick, as this guy's got size, 6'4", 190 pounds, left shot defenseman. I believe he played on the same team as Prokhorov. No, different
Okay.
team.
It would have been
Close.
cool though.
Would have been cool. Don't let facts get in the way of a good story. But that is interesting, Ross, that we got to that point. We got that pick. He had 23 points in 46 games in the MHL, 5 points in 7 playoff games. Look, the Ottawa Senators needed to find a way to get some right-hand shot defenseman insurance, and they take care of that without getting anybody off their roster. $1.5 million for Jordan Spence, restricted free agent. He, like Eddie Garcia mentioned, he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be hungry. He's going to have to kind of find his way on this team, in this franchise. I'm so excited about that move. And I told you, 67 is, you thought I was joking, Ross, when I said, you asked what I was excited about this day. I said, everybody wants to pick 67th. That pick got moved twice after I said that. So just saying.
That is hilarious. Senators not even close to on the clock just yet. So let's give you a quick rundown of what's coming up. We're going to look at the Ottawa Senators depth chart now that we've added Kurban Limatov. We have not. We've added already added Logan Hensler. And now before I pull it up, I will be adding Jordan Spence. I really like that, man. And I like that they're being proactive. They didn't let it sit through for the start of the summer and, hey, what's out there? What can we get? It's an aggressive decision to get an NHL defenseman right where you needed him. The question is, and I think I'll probably answer it myself here, but he goes behind or above Nick Jensen in the depth chart on the right side?
Well, based on our conversations with Bruce Scoops Garrioch, I would say it's safe to say ahead of Nick Jensen, as Bruce made it pretty clear he does not believe Jensen's going to be ready to go for the start of the season. And I don't know if it's kind of like breaking news or anything, but a big part of what Bruce was saying is apparently this could be it for Nick Jensen.
No, they said initially that's what it was thought, but now
but for that to even be in the realm of discussion, Ross, is kind of big news, especially we're not 100% sure what kind of surgery he's getting and how serious this is. And I mean, he is up there. What's Nick Jensen, 36?
Will be next season.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. The Ottawa Senators are going to have to plan for the fact that Nick Jensen not only might miss the start of next year, but might not be around after that. So that's certainly interesting, and I think they did a good job covering up just in case that happens. We hope Nick Jensen is healthy, because when he was healthy and playing well, he was one of the most underrated players on this team, and he fit in so well with Thomas Spott. And obviously, we had his wife, Jenner Jensen, on the show. Great family, and they do a lot of work for charity in the Ottawa area. So he'd be a welcomed member of this team to stick around, a good vet as well.
Yeah, he'd be a great vet.
And we got to get him a playoff point, Ross. He's got to get his first ever playoff point in an Ottawa Senators jersey.
Yeah, I think it's 31 games played, no points in the postseason, but still, heck of a player and one that any team would be like, okay, this could be a great depth piece. Look, if Jensen had 2 or 3 years left on his deal, I'd probably be thinking, hey, is that something you want to get out of early before it's too late? But with 1 year left at $4.05 million, and he's also one of the rare players on the Ottawa Senators roster that is making less in real money than they are in cap. There's a lot that are the other side of it. Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Drake Batherson's making over $1.5 million more.
Shabbat.
Yeah. So there's guys, and Shane Pinto with a $3.75 million cap hit, but his salary this season is $5 million. So that's the price you pay when you get these backloaded contracts with the age range that the Senators are in right now with their core. So in terms of the financial decisions that you make, you probably want to have not only the veteran leadership, the respect that Nick Jensen has, even just, I mean, think about the respect he already had a lot, but playing through what he did the second half of the season, that doesn't go unnoticed in the locker room. And I'm sure the boys are rallying around Nick Jensen to come back and be sick next season. So I'm excited to see what's next, but I'm putting Jordan Spence below Nick Jensen on the depth chart just to start. Because I think to be above a veteran, you gotta play a game with Ottawa first.
Okay, that's fine.
And I mean, think about it. Shabbat Jensen played more minutes together than any other Sens D pair last season.
Yep.
And sure, Zub's injuries played a role in that too.
That's fair.
I think an underrated part of this, not that it was any sort of possibility before, but this is the final nail in the coffin for Travis Hamonick's tenure with the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that nail had been put in and already shipped off.
Well, like, I think you need a lot of nails to do it. So this is the last one.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the Sens are full.
I wasn't even considering that as a possibility.
No new friends. No old friends back either.
Yeah. So, and Ross, how refreshing is it for the draft, specifically day one of the draft, day two of the draft, the three moves, let's call it, that the Sens make, trading back, then selecting Logan Hensler, and then trading what they did to acquire Jordan Spence, universally loved on the internet by even people that aren't Sens fans, even people that hate the Sens. Like I saw some Leafs fans being like, man, it sucks that the Sens got Logan Hensler there. That's great value. And then people saying, why didn't our team do a deal better than that to acquire Jordan Spence? So it's just so fun, so refreshing to not be the laughing stock of Twitter. And Steve Stales, Michael Landlau, they're turning the ship around. And I'm happy to be incredibly wrong about my initial thoughts on Logan Hensler. I'm happy to. Ross, I hope Logan Hensler plays in the NHL, does really well, and people are tagging me in that prospect profile being like, Pilsy, you idiot. I'll be like, yeah, you're right. Dead on. I'm like, that's totally fair. We had one guy in our YouTube comments, Ross, write a novel about how bad he thinks our takes were on Hensler. Fair. Like that's fine. I hope that guy is right. And I hope he can be like, you guys were crazy for thinking this about Hensler. And if people think that I'm hoping Hensler isn't good so I can look smart, you couldn't be way off. I've never looked smart a day in my life. So I wouldn't want to start now. And if it means an Ottawa Senators prospect working out and doing better than I thought, I'll happily take that. And
Eric in the chat, great citizen. We love seeing his goofiness come through on social media. He just retweeted the LA Kings tweet about the trade. And that's always a great way to see the
How
fan
are the first
reaction.
replies?
The replies are very anti-LA Kings.
Yeah, that's awesome. Heck yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing better than that. Thanks, guys. We will take better care of him from our guy, Caleb. Byfield for Hart. I'm going to go out and say that's a Kings fan. This is all Jim Hiller's fault. Yeah. That's tough. Dom Lasician, also known Sens hater with the Athletic, Leafs guy, said...
Good job pronouncing that name. Damn.
Even after accounting for usage, which was extremely soft, his model is still enamored by Jordan Spence. At best, he makes a jump to be a top four defenseman. At worst, He keeps crushing easy minutes, which is something that Ottawa desperately needs. Good bet by the Sens. His model has him as a $5.2 million market value.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's good because it shows he can be a good player, but not good in the sense that I don't think the Ottawa Senators can pay him that much. What if Jensen's money comes off the books? Like if he's in the $3.5 to $4 million range, that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense for the Sens.
Makes Spence for the Sens.
Dude, that's an awesome pickup. And just
Unreal.
You already touched on it, so I'm going to acknowledge that before talking, unlike last night where I just completely repeated you at 12:30 in the morning.
No worries, it happens.
That pick got traded 4 times. Can you believe? Like, I acted as though I was breaking news to you.
All good.
Not only did you already know that, but you just let our great listeners know that exact same thing moments before. Oh, I see the Sens logo.
Ooh.
Last pick of the 3rd round. Hey, was this the 3rd round pick that they initially got for Tarasenko, or is this the one because they won the cup?
No, it would have been the one because they won the cup, because the other one was a 4th, was it not? Or was it 2/3?
I thought
it was a 3rd and a 4th, and a 4th turns to a 3rd if they win the cup.
Yeah.
Ross, seeing the Sens logo. Oh, go ahead.
What? So it would have been a 4th round pick last year. But then what? Okay, let's see.
Some of the pick stuff is crazy. Here, I'll let you figure that out, and I'll
3rd round pick in 2026 is the one because they won the cup.
Okay, so that's next year's.
This was the original 3rd round pick. It was a 4th round pick last year that became a 2026 third. Probably because the Panthers just don't have any picks and they couldn't care less about it.
F them picks. I mean, when you're winning back-to-back cups and you're a dynasty team, you don't care about the draft
not
picks.
a dynasty.
Seeing the Sens logo coming up in the draft, Ross, you know what that gives me same vibes of? You know when you're like getting ready for a vacation and you can finally go to the weather app and see the 14-day forecast for that? It gives me vibes like that. Like, okay, we can start forecasting what this is going to be like. Although we're still quite a ways away here, but do we have anyone in our top 50 left, Ross? I don't think so. Has Cameron Schmidt gone?
No, he's not.
That's crazy. He's sliding this far. That could be a real steal for a team.
Yeah, I mean, he dominated in the WHL. What do you have? How many goals did he have?
I think 40. And EP's scout polls have him as the best shot in the draft. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, this guy had 40 goals in 60 games.
You brought up the Sens logo, and it brought me back. This is such a sick photo.
Nice.
Maybe I'm overselling it, but
I mean, you got the right audience. Oh, yeah. The sphere was so cool.
The sphere was so sick.
Yeah.
Charlie Trethaway, and they've got him in here as Charlton.
Charlton. That's cool.
Charlton Trethaway.
Yeah, I'd probably go by Charlie too if that was me. Probably the way to go.
He's the pick at 73. So Sens are coming up at 90, 96, 96 and 97th overall.
Yes. Yep.
Hell yeah. I'm fired up. Okay, let's I've got this all set. We can pull this up. Then we're just gonna take a 5-minute break to get set for the Ottawa Senators 2 picks. And then Stephen Halliday will join us. And speaking of us being idiots, I'm going to bring up a story about Stephen Halliday that will further show how big of an idiot we are. Yes. So this is the forward core, and white means they're signed for 2 or more seasons. Red means they're currently a pending unrestricted free agent. Black means that they're going into their final year of their deal, and then it shows whether they're UFA or RFA. And then yellow means restricted free agent. Blue is an unsigned draft pick prospect, and green means they're signed, but they're playing in junior. Shout out to Luke Ellenis getting that signing bonus money into the bank there. 4th round pick, the best 4th round in NHL history, some are saying, with Ellenis, Montgomery, and Javon Moore being the picks there.
Yes,
to me, and what I want to bring up here, because there is still $9 million in cap space and the D-core set. So Ottawa needs a backup goalie and then to spend the rest of the money on forwards. you want to hit on that, or do you want to get right to me, the most interesting part of this offseason to go outside of Claude Giroux and what they do with that cap space if it's not him? Look at all the red and yellow in Belleville, Pilsy. There could be so many changes there.
Yeah, big time. And Matt Turk is probably going to come in here and want to put his stamp on things. The Belleville season last year simply was not good enough, and not necessarily all their fault. A lot of the injuries in Ottawa and things that happened in Ottawa had a major role on the roster David Bell had at his disposal. Yeah, I would agree, Ross. I think the decor is set now, which is such a relief. Acquiring a right shot defenseman to fill that out, and then drafting a right shot defenseman with your first round pick. The Ottawa Senators are building stability on one of the most coveted positions in hockey. So that's smart, responsible asset management there by the Ottawa Senators. Let's go to the goalie conversation. I think, Ross, things are leaning toward Anton Forsberg leaving. I think with the weak UFA options that there are in goal, maybe you can go to Puckpedia and show the options. Anton Forsberg might be the most sought after veteran backup goalie available as a UFA. There's also Alex Lyon, but Steve Yzerman will probably sign him to an 8-year deal. He needs all the goalies possible. Although we did find out Peter Mrazek went the other way in the Jonathan Gibson deal, but Forsberg could get a decent payday somewhere else, and I don't think the Ottawa Senators would match what he could get on the market. So the Ottawa Senators are going to have to find a solution for backup goalie. I know lots of Sens fans are saying, Pilsy, this is easy, Levi Merlainen. Not that I don't think he's capable of doing it. I just don't think that's a responsible move, putting a guy like him in that position early. And I want him playing games. I want Linus Ullmark playing lots of games. Levi Merlainen playing 20 games as an NHL backup, I don't think is the correct move for his development. And injuries happen. You want to have a veteran goalie that can back up and that can be available, and also someone that you're not really too worried about losing if you have to put him on waivers or something like that happens at a very minimal cap hit. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Ottawa Senators do in goal here.
It's going to be super interesting. Speaking of goalie, Yzer plan continues. They just drafted a goalie 75th overall from Slovakia.
Oh, God, of course, as I'm saying that.
The town of about 1,500 people that my buddy, and if you saw on Twitter, I posted that photo of me as a kid with Zdeno Chara being our waiter. My buddy there's from the same town as him, Dolny Kubin. It's a little town in Slovakia. So there you have it, another goalie for the Detroit Red Wings, and looks like the 76th overall pick is about to come in. Senators drafting 96th and 97th. But man, doesn't it look nice having Logan Hensler there, that right shot D in the system? And we've already moved Yakimchuk into the AHL because he is going to turn pro this year. But yeah, I really like the decision to go with the right shot defenseman. It's just, what's the upside offensively of Logan Hensler? I saw in the chat way earlier, but interesting that somebody said Craig Button compared Logan Hensler to a bigger Dylan DeMello, which, I mean, DeMello's played top pair on the President's Trophy winning team last year.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if I see that comparison. I think the Faber, Hannafin, Sanderson comparisons and shades of is a little lofty. I know I'm drinking the Hensler Kool-Aid, but I think we need to calm down on those. I really like the Nick Jensen comparison you made, Ross. I think that makes a lot of sense. And if you look back, Nick Jensen actually produced pretty well offensively in college when he was in the NCAA. And look, for people being like, oh, his offense is going to explode, he's got so much offensive upside. Again, I'm not fully sold on that. You're going to have to put a little more Kool-Aid powder into my drink and stir it around for me to be sipping on that. But does he need to have offense? Like, if he's going to be paired with Jake Sanderson or Thomas Chabot, I think more likely Thomas Chabot would make sense in the future. You don't need this kid to have offense, and he's already a great smooth skater. He's a good two-way guy. I wouldn't say he's going to be a shutdown guy, and physicality isn't really his bread and butter either. But I think he's going to be one of those guys with more development and with big role in Wisconsin this year, he's going to use that skating, and he's going to get better at being a defenseman that uses his skating to defend well. And I think that's what we can look forward to with Logan Hensler.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he develops next season at Wisconsin, and ultimately, how long is it going to take him before he's an NHLer? Like, I saw the Belleville Sens congratulate him, and it's like, is he going to learn where Belleville is, or is he a right to the NHL kind of guy? That's going to be a fun question. It's going to be fun to follow.
Yeah.
He just finished his freshman year. I mean, he can go back for 2 more years if he has to.
Yeah, there's lots of time to find that out. Again, I don't have the expectations that he's going to go from college to the NHL. It's a big jump. I'm even of the mind that Yakimchuk should spend some time in the AHL as well, even though from what we saw in last year's preseason, he can hang in a preseason very different than regular season. But now that the Sens have their right side shored up, like Bruce said, Yakimchuk's going to come in there and he's going to force some tough decisions on that right side, or at least that will be his goal to do that. So very interesting spot for the Ottawa Senators to be in. And I like that they have multiple options on the right side now, as opposed to a day ago where we were looking at Zub, a banged up Jensen, and Matty Palo and Lassie Thompson.
Yeah.
Big improvement.
Things change in a hurry. Let's hear from the host of the Locked On NHL Prospect Show. Here's what Sebastian High believes in Logan Hensler.
Has Logan Hensler developed into one of the more undervalued assets at the 2025 NHL Draft? I'm Sebastian High from Locked On NHL Prospects, ready to give you a breakdown of his game. He's a 6'2.5", 196-pound right shot defenseman who skates at the absolute wind. He's one of the best movers among the blue liners in this year's draft class. And playing in college hockey this season, he was really tested on the physical level and really succeeded on that front. Though he did struggle overall in his decision-making earlier on the campaign, the back half of the season ended way stronger than he started the year. The offense took a step. He was dangling through opposition defenses and really trying to make things happen with the puck on his stick. He has some elements of Mike Matheson and even Noah Hannafin in his game and could develop into a top 4 defenseman in the NHL, but is likely going to need 3 to 4 years before cracking the league. For more on Hensler and all things NHL Draft, follow and subscribe to Locked On NHL Prospects on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts.
I'm a big Sebastian High guy. He gives great analysis, man.
Heck yeah, he's a part of the Elite Prospects staff that puts a lot of hours and work into the guide. If you guys don't already have the Elite Prospect Guide, go get it. I would say, maybe I'm speaking for both of us here, Ross, but I would say that is our most used resource when it comes to draft prospect profiles, which is ironic because they were high on Hensler and we were not. But yeah, Sebastian High covers the USHL. He does Locked On NHL Prospects. So definitely go check out his work. Someone that we are building a relationship with, and we'll probably have him on later on in the offseason to go over the Ottawa Senators draft.
Yeah, we definitely will. And on the other side, we'll catch up with one of the Sens' top prospects, Stephen Halliday, and our immediate learning. I'd expect learning because we're at the point in the draft. We only have really Cameron Schmidt, Adam Banak left. Those are the only 2 guys that we covered so far still on the board. So will one still be available with the Senators? Probably not, but we'll learn together who the Senators take at the end of the 3rd round and then back-to-back with the first pick in the 4th round. So that's coming up next. We're going to take a quick break here and we'll play a segment from yesterday's immediate reaction. The full episode is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Pilsy, do you know what happened the last time the Senators traded back in the 1st round with the Nashville Predators and selected a right shot defenseman?
I believe they ended up with Erik Karlsson.
They certainly did. Now, no pressure to Logan Hensler, who is the Senators' choice at 23rd overall, and I can already see you smirking on the other end of the screen. I know we were not super high on Logan Hensler pre-draft, calling him a safe pick, a guy who maybe didn't have the dynamic ability that we were hoping for in a 1st-round pick. But now, after seeing the sell job from Don Boyd, who was on with TSN 1200, all the analysts calling him best player available, what are your thoughts on the Senators picking Hensler at 23?
Well, Ross, you can't make this stuff up. Logan Hensler was one of my lowest Sens Stars rated players. I was quite down on him in our prospect profile. He was a guy that I had lower on my list than most. And when the Ottawa Senators made the selection, I got to be honest, I was disappointed immediately because I wanted the Sens to make a big swing on skill. There was other players that I preferred in that spot. Blake Fiddler, Malcolm Spence, Lyndon Lakovic, guys like that. I wanted something a little more flashy. Not that Blake Fiddler's flashy, but he brings a little bit more shutdown physical element to his game as a right shot defenseman. But it's very refreshing to see the Ottawa Senators not the laughing stock of the scouting community and online. In fact, I think this is one of the most praised jobs at the draft that we've seen from the Ottawa Senators in a while, obviously other than Tim Stützle at third overall in 2020. But for the Ottawa Senators to be able to identify that at 21, there's a crop of players they like, and Don Boyd, head scout, mentioned that Logan Hensler was still at the top of their list. They would have been fine selecting him at 21. They realized they can move back 2 picks with Nashville from 21 to 23, hardly a risk at all, and receive the 67th overall pick. They need more draft capital, so that's good. And I would say probably the 2 guys that went, Bill Zonin and that Russian goalie, were not guys that they were going to select anyways, and they're able to make their pick. That's solid asset management from the Ottawa Senators. And if you look where Logan Hensler was on pretty much everyone's list, he was quite high, and the Ottawa Senators got a lot of praise for the way they were able to handle this. So it's refreshing, Ross, to see that the Ottawa Senators did not reach on a guy. In fact, in most people's opinion, they got really good value.
And we'll get into what kind of player Logan Hensler will be at the NHL level when he gets there. Currently at the University of Wisconsin, just finished his freshman season. We'll pull up his stats too. Hey, it's been a long day, Pilsy. That Russian goalie was the 20th overall pick, and then Ottawa traded back. It was Cameron Reed, the pick that Nashville.
I could tell
used.
from your face that I made a mistake. My bad.
Hey, I made a way worse mistake. I posted our graphic, and I don't know what I did, but 2 + 10 equals
83.
12, actually. Yes, that was a little mistake there. The one mistake, we made, 50 cards? And the one mistake that I made on any card was the Senators pick. Hey, hopefully we made a mistake on our pre-draft rankings.
Yes.
Nobody would want to be more wrong than us. But at the same time, we were low on him. He was 15th on Bob McKenzie's list. We were low on him. There's no going around that.
Mm-hmm.
I had him 23rd on my list. Where did he go?
23rd.
And you were extremely low on him. And where'd you have him?
I had him 27.
That's still right there.
But most people had him in the teens. I'm looking through mock drafts. A lot of people had him drafted at 20, 18, 19, right around there. That's where most people had him in their rankings as well. And I think, Ross, excuse me, looking back, I think I put a lot of emphasis on the start of his season, and a lot of scouting reports mentioned that he was one of the most improved players throughout the NCAA season. He played on a poor Wisconsin Badgers team that did not have much success at all. They were one of the worst teams in the Big Ten Conference, and that's a tough conference as well. And as a freshman defenseman in the NCAA, that's challenging, and it's going to take time for you to work things out. And the improvement from Hensler's first half from his second half of the season is pretty big. So I think that's another thing to look at there. And he is one of even though he's a freshman in the NCAA, he is one of the older kids in this draft. He's got good size at 6'3", 6'3", 190. I think we had him at somewhere around there. Yeah. So look, the size is there. Let me put it this way. I'm not upset at the Ottawa Senators for picking another player with size because, and like I mentioned, this isn't a player that only brings size to the table. He doesn't only have size, physicality, strength. In fact, I would say, Ross, the size is kind of a added bonus to his game. The bread and butter of Logan Hensler's game is his smooth skating, his transition game, and his ability to move the puck up the ice. Now, 12 points in 32 games. He's not that playmaking, flashy offensive defenseman that's going to set guys up with ease. However, a lot of people also mentioned in their scouting reports that there's probably more offense to give here and add a little bit more oomph to his team. I don't know. Let's say fellow Sens prospect Blake Montgomery, who's going to play at the University of Wisconsin next year, and that could really help out his numbers. So although I was down, and there's still other guys I might have preferred that didn't get picked, 2 of them in Fiddler and Spence, so that goes to show something. I'm coming around on Logan Hensler for sure. And I think if you look from where I was at in our prospect profile to where I was at when he was selected and where I am now, we're trending upward here, Ross. So not too bad.
Yeah, I think I feel really good about it because they got that extra pick as well.
Helps.
It was going to be a long wait until the final pick of the 3rd round, which is where the Senators were next scheduled to draft. And now they've got the 3rd pick in the 3rd round. So now you're going to be adding another prospect. And clearly Logan Hensler is viewed very highly. I know you mentioned he's one of the older players in this draft class, but still making Team USA at the World Juniors as a 17 or 18, but just turned 18-year-old. I think that shows that there's a level of trust that coaches have in the way that he plays. He defends extremely well. At Elite Prospects, they ranked him the 5th best neutral zone defender in the class and the 5th best puck-moving defenseman in the class as well. If he was a left shot defenseman, I would be banging my head on the table. But when you're looking at the future of the Ottawa Senators blue line, Carter Yakimchuk on one pair and Logan Hensler on the other, you're starting to see the makings of what could be a pretty solid right side where both guys are 6'3" or taller and are big trees, not shrubs on the back end. So this is actually the 4th straight season that the Senators have used their first selection on a defenseman.
Yeah.
The others, 2 of them, obviously not first-round picks, Philip Nordberg at the very end of the 2nd round in 2022, and then Hoyt Stanley in the 4th round in 2023, but back-to-back first-round picks between Yakimchuk and Logan Hensler. The Sens have identified that they needed to shore up the right side pipeline, and that's what we knew they needed to do. We said right shot defenseman or skill up front. Skill up front still needs to be worked on. Hopefully they can take a swing on that tomorrow with a high upside player later on in the middle rounds of the draft. But you can see the thought process of Don Boyd, of Steve Staios, and the organization of saying this is the type of player that we're going to win with in 5 to 7 years when he's entering his prime.
Yeah, and you start thinking, and again, you don't always want to draft for positional need or being like, oh, this guy's going to play with this guy one day, because it doesn't always work out like that, and you can't really project years in advance how guys are going to be. But if you want to do that for fun, you could see this guy as a nice combination paired with Thomas Chabot one day, right? Like, let Thomas Chabot play his offensive defenseman style game, and then Logan Hensler is going to be a much more poised puck moving defenseman. And then you get into a situation where it's not like opponents are going to be dumping it in one corner being like, okay, Chabot can handle the puck, so dump it in Hensler's end every time, because he can't, because he's confident in doing that. And I think he's going to improve on that even more. And sure, playing on a poor Wisconsin Badgers team isn't always the best, but it's going to give him the opportunity to play a lot of minutes, which he already has been. He's going to get the opportunity to play on the power play, even though he doesn't really have the offensive skills to be on better teams' power plays. He's getting these chances, and he's going to have to face adversity, and that's good for development. So I'm seeing the vision that the Ottawa Senators had when they had Logan Hensler high on their list and when they selected him at 23rd overall.
All right, that was fun. I like that.
Great analysis there.
A really great analysis. For that full episode, you can go check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Pills, you like my hat?
Oh, it came in time. Hell yeah.
Just
Fan
in
of the
time.
NHL.
Fan of the NHL, but I'm going to throw the Sens hat on here in 11, 12 picks. Man, goalies are going off the board. I like that a lot. Love me some goalies. Alex is wondering if you're eating pistachios right now.
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I am not. I've ran out of pistachios. The reason I'm not eating pistachios now is because I already ate them all.
Hell yeah. Best protein nut. Wonderful pistachios.
Big time.
I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us here on draft day.
This has been awesome.
It's been a
The
lot of
vibes have been so great. Breaking news, trades, commenting on guys getting picked. We still have 2 players in our top 50 rankings that are available. 2 5'7" guys in Cameron
sure the
Schmidt and
Sens are
Vanek.
waiting.
So yeah, I'm not sure Don Boyd and the staff are targeting them, but we'll see.
Halliday just texted me just saying he's in traffic, so he'll be on at 2:25 Eastern.
All good. We can wait for a guy like Stephen Halliday.
Yeah, well, exactly. Just like he had to wait to hear his name called. He was what, a 4th round pick?
Yep, another I believe another great 4th rounder for the Ottawa Senators. So that pick 97 leading off the 4th round with another steal of the draft wouldn't surprise me.
He's such a beauty too. What do you want to ask him about?
Well, first we got to ask him about what he thinks about Ohio State. Get that out of the way, because otherwise he's just going to throw it into every single answer that he gives. We talked to Crooker, and Crooker confirmed that Stephen Halliday still loves repping his alma mater, Ohio State, wearing the Ohio State shoes on the Belleville bus when everybody else has their Belleville stuff on. Yeah, we can ask him about
well, no, you just opened up a can of worms there, because I looked it up, because I know they're both Big Ten. Apparently there's a big rivalry between Ohio State and Wisconsin.
Perfect. So yeah, we can ask him about that, about how his season in Belleville went. I want to ask him, Ross, about, remember that one time mid-season where they didn't officially call Halliday up, but he just left Belleville and was skating in Ottawa? That was interesting. I'd love to hear his story on what was going on there.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up mid-season. Oh, did I delete it? I may have. Oh, there you go. No, I emailed it to him, so it might still be there. I got a clip from one of our interviews this year, and I emailed it to Steven.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Out of nowhere. The file you have requested does not exist. So guess what? We're not going to watch it. But I sent it to him. And he goes, wow. Because how cool was that? We asked Tim Stützle which young player has impressed him the most, and it's a player he's played 0 career NHL games with, Stephen Halliday.
Ross, little correction. His response was not wow. It was ew in all caps. Apparently the kids these days, ew is that's a positive. So.
Ew. Thanks, boys. Means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey,
didn't he give Halliday his card too in preseason? Says, hey, go have some dinner on me, kid.
Oh, I bet Tim Stützle's a beauty like that. And man,
he's paying for haircuts.
Yeah, we know that. Stephen Halliday's a guy that, obviously small sample size, but he's got the skill type to be able to play with a Timmy. Like he's got
totally.
I don't know if you guys know, but maybe we shouldn't put Timmy and Halliday on a line together. But Stephen Halliday is a disher.
Yes,
people are not aware of his profile. He is a disher. So those two, get a sniper on a line with those two, and that guy would be getting pucks left, right, and center.
You think Ant would be a good guy on that line?
Yeah, definitely. The Ant.
The Ant. Ant to Z. We had in the chat.
What? That's like A to Z type.
A to Z, Ant to Z, and Zetterland.
Okay.
Yeah. We're workshopping that, but I think there's potential with Ant.
Yeah, people need to realize though, it's not because he's small, it's because ants are known for being able to lift much more than their body weight. Yeah. And they're also team players. Ants are big time team players.
Oh, yeah. They travel in groups.
Yep.
What's a group of ants called? A pack?
I want to say a colony.
Oh, yeah.
Like an ant colony, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was talking bugs.
Speaking of little, the Carolina Hurricanes have passed on both Adam Banak and Cameron Schmidt again.
That's surprising. We had the Hurricanes taking Schmidt in the first round.
I know. And now it's the middle of the 3rd round. LA Kings now on the clock at 88th overall. The Ottawa Senators coming up with 2 picks. Which, I mean, it's going a bit faster than round 1, but it's honestly not going that fast.
No, it's going much faster than round one, Ross. We're coming up to the end of the third round here.
Right. And what? It's been just over 2 hours? Yeah. The timing on the Jordan Spence move, I just would like to tip my cap to the Ottawa Senators.
I can't say enough good things about that trade. Like a third round and a sixth round pick for a guy like Jordan Spence is like, I would have thought, Ross, if they had to trade a second round pick for him, that would have been fine, I think.
Well, and then, I mean, the gelato on top is the fact that Steve Stais acquired that third round pick to move back 2 spots the night before for the
And
same
still
guy.
get the
That
guy. Yeah. Well, it's a new era for the Ottawa Senators. The previous regime they would have been on the opposite side of that. They would have traded up, not got the guy they wanted, and then gave Jordan Spence away for peanuts.
Yeah.
Or
Not here, not
pistachios.
now. Yeah, peanut, exactly. Shout out wonderful pistachios. So love it. Love that move. Let's see what else we love. So
If you guys want us to talk about anything in the chat, hit us up. This is that type of live stream. We're just firing off the hip. Vibes are going. We can talk about anything.
Yeah, no, it's awesome here. Look, they're zoomed in on the Artem Gonchar goes to the New York Rangers. I don't know a thing about him, but that's a sick handle. Any relation
to Sergey, Sens legend?
I feel like we would have heard about it. No.
Actually, for some reason, I feel like he is. Wasn't he one of the guys we had?
It's his uncle.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Well, Sergey is Artyom's uncle.
Sweet. Well, there's that Sens logo. Let's go.
I know. Isn't it pretty?
So good. So good.
Are they really going to make us wait until September to see that third jersey?
Well, the season ticket holders have seen it, and
well, no, they didn't see any more than we did. Otherwise, it would have gotten leaked.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Did we talk about who we would get for those on that jersey? Did you make your pick?
Yeah, I said Timmy.
Nice. I think now that Zetterlund signed, I might go Zetterlund with that one.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
that is nice. 4 of Carolina's 5 picks are Russian.
Wow. So Carolina and Columbus, they've clearly got a motive to try to tap I don't want to say untapped market, but a spot that other teams just straight up avoid. And
what team would do that?
Yeah, I don't know. But you can build a team off Russians if you're able to hit and you're able to get value there where other teams aren't interested. So it's worked for the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's worked for the Washington Capitals.
It's worked for the Tampa Bay Lightning too. I guess not like in volume, but in terms of having their best player.
Yeah, I mean they got Sergachev as well.
Oh, true.
But they didn't draft him.
No,
or did they?
No. Montreal traded him for Drouin.
Yeah, I remember it was the trade, but I forget who was actually drafted.
Yeah, that's so funny. Let's see. Yeah, Carolina and Columbus only scout in Europe, Adam says. If Schmidt was 5'11", he'd be a first-round pick. Agreed.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Schmidt is good. If people are being like, he's 5'7" and he's sliding, go watch his highlight reel. He's sick. I mean, WHL, but WHL is a good league too.
The CHL, we can talk for a second. They cleaned up round 1 of the draft.
Big time. Yeah. USN TDP on the downfall.
Yeah. And all this talk about players. Oh, the background star on the mic. It's the same thing that happened with it's the same event as my broken Brady Tkachuk bobblehead. My dog.
Bad dog.
He ran into my desk and it just shook the whole thing.
What was going on with Alfie that he was going
throwing
so
a
crazy?
I was throwing a ball.
Oh, fair.
Bad throw.
That'll do it. Classic dog move.
Yeah, not the first time I've had a bad throw that's resulted in poor results. There's a time growing up, I threw a baseball like 10 feet over my buddy's head right through a windshield.
Oh, that's tough.
Not good.
I broke a windshield in my childhood too. I was pissed playing basketball and like soccer booted the basketball as high as I could and straight up into a parking lot onto a windshield shattered. So Happens.
Shattered.
If you haven't broken one window or windshield as a child, you didn't get out and play enough in the 90s. That was a sign of going through childhood, is breaking a window with some sort of sports equipment.
That's hilarious. So we are just about on the clock here for back-to-back picks. What happens first? The picks being made, Stephen Halliday joining us, or me having to go into my office because I'm running out of battery on my laptop?
Oh, you running out of battery. Ross is the king of having his laptop and phone die, which is crazy because I'm on the exact opposite end of that. Ross, I don't think my phone or laptop has died on me in years. Literally, I can't remember the last time I've had a phone or laptop die.
But it used to be whenever I would just disappear while we're prepping the show that my laptop died. But now I have just become addicted to having 35,000 tabs open on my computer.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just hammer the close button and I just leave.
Yeah, that's also classic Ross move in the middle of something and he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
See ya.
That's good. Plugged in Pillsy.
Yeah, plugged in Pillsy for sure. I
also don't leave my house very often. So like the opportunity for my phone and even further my laptop to die is like very minimal.
My wife always has 10% or less battery on her phone.
I'm a neurotic charging guy. Like Simone hasn't had to charge a single device of hers in our entire relationship. Like if we're in the kitchen and her phone is sitting on the counter, I'm getting that thing plugged in. I'm plugging her. We got a plug-in hybrid car. I'm obsessed with plugging that in when it's not raining. Just I love charging things. I'm a charged up guy. Ottawa Charge. Shut
exactly. I always say that she's chasing a charge. Like she's
Nice.
always looking for one. Hey, you got a charger I could use?
You chasing the charge. And Ross, you're also classic. Any screenshot you receive from Ross, sliver of red battery life every single time. Yes, every single time.
Come on. I'm not I think my phone.
Yeah, let's see what the battery's at right now.
No, I'm dialed in today. 73%.
Ooh, nice.
The old overnight charge.
Nice.
And we've been pretty busy. I haven't been on my phone while we've been doing this. Only when I sent the wrong link to Menno, which is hilarious.
This is a good point by Adam. Pillsy always prep for a power outage. Must have been hurt before. Yes. I'm also, Simone calls it doomsday prepping. Like we had the thunderstorm here last night. I'm charging everything. I'm pouring extra water to make sure if the power goes out, all our water bottles are full. We got flashlights, charged candles ready. I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Well, hey, be prepared. As Sens fan Frankie McDonald would say.
The show.
Didn't we have a show? It was like the same week as Tim Stutzlo. We had Frankie McDonald on. Yes. I wish that was in the YouTube era.
Yeah, that would have been. Oh man, that would have been crazy.
He's the best, dude. Imagine he was the special guest to bring out the Sens pick in the first round.
Say what you want. He's got clout. He's got a lot of followers.
Hell yeah, and he's got great weather predictions. You gotta be prepared. Speaking of weather, let's get outdoors. Stephen Halliday, what's up, fella? How are you? Where are you right now?
I'm in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
State of hockey.
Yeah.
What are you doing there? Scouting?
Playing just a fun tournament with a couple of my buddies for the weekend.
Like you're playing beer league?
No, I don't think it's beer league. There's a couple like NHLers on a couple of different.
Okay,
teams,
so it's you're not going out there and playing pros versus Joes and making everybody look bad.
Hopefully not. Hopefully still doing that. I'm just kidding, but
who are some of the names? So, like who are we talking about here?
I don't really have the official rosters, but there's the Pitlicks putting a team together.
Nice.
That they say they had the Tommy Novak from the Penguins.
Okay.
Who else? 1 second. Let's look here.
Where's off-season home for
Kaiser.
you these days?
I'm in Toronto, right? I've been training in Toronto this summer, and then in August or July I'm going to Ohio State just to do a class. And then
did you go there?
Oh yeah, good one.
I'm still mad you didn't go to North Dakota when it was all said and done. Hey, you got to
now
respond.
it's the Wisco Sens. Now it's
I
the
know.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's.
Seriously,
Let's go.
we'll get to that. But first, do you have a response to Angus Crookshank just laying
no.
into you on the Ohio State gear?
Hey, this is for Angus. I'm wearing flip flops for Ohio State right now.
Of course.
No, yeah. Angus brought me aside. Bro would bring me aside all the time. Like, Steven, come on, man. We gotta get the wardrobe updated. But I'm like, oh, they're my lucky shoes, bro.
Hey,
Oh my
hockey
god,
players
Belsey would give it to me
superstitious.
too. Belsey didn't like him either.
that's so funny, dude. Ottawa just traded up, 93rd overall. Blake Vanek. We'll figure out who he is in a second. You ever heard that name? Do you know any of these guys, or the age gap's now a little large?
I knew the Hensler. I knew he was pretty good. Just because of like NCDP, and he was going into Wisconsin. But
Hey, Thomas
I
Vanek's
noticed-
kid is who we just
Oh.
picked.
Oh, there we go.
Minnesota.
And a Minnesota guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
where you're talking to us from. What's the rivalry like, Stephen, between Ohio and Wisconsin?
It's pretty. I wouldn't say it's like a top rivalry, but like I would say Wisconsin and Minnesota, they play in like a border battle like games
Fair.
all the time. So I would say like Wisconsin's biggest rival is probably Mini, but we always had good battles with them because they were ranked pretty high. So we'd always like get up for those games and try to you know, because if you win some of the big games on the road versus the high ranked teams, you can jump pretty big in the standings.
Do you follow along with the draft?
I was following a little bit this year. Just like I was looking for like, there's a couple Maryland guys that got drafted. Trethway got drafted to Pittsburgh, and then Serrato was from Maryland. He got drafted to Carolina. But yeah, I was
Sweet.
following when like Steve made some good plays and got some
Seriously?
good guys. So,
Yeah, no
it's
doubt. We like the move to drop back just 2 picks there. And with that said, like when you're watching the draft now, like do you know any of the guys before? Like, do you look in and be like, oh, it'd be cool to have this or that going forward? Obviously, in Belleville, it looks like there might be a ton of changes down there just based on guys whose contracts are up right now. Or are you just sitting back on the couch and being like, all right, let's see what happens?
Yeah, it's always like it's weird because like they're so young. So like even if we got like a really high skilled player, like I wouldn't play with them for maybe a year or so. So but it's definitely cool to see just like how the draft kind of works, like not being like entangled with it, because like Steve like makes 2 picks or trades like a pick and then he gets another pick and then trades those guys for like a sick right shot D. So it's kind of cool just to see how that side of the game works. But yeah.
Are you a guy that maybe one day would want to be in a role like that?
Yeah, like I think like what Gags does is super sick. Like he like gets to work with all the players, and like that's something that I would take really. I think that would be something that I'd want to do, so maybe after I'm done playing.
Hell yeah. What was your draft experience like? You were a +1 or +2 when you got picked?
I was +2, so I like sat through a couple drafts. But it was cool. Like I wasn't really watching, and the best part is like my dad told me like where I was going and all that stuff, and like the coolest part was like seeing how happy he was and seeing how happy my family was, just because like the last 2 years, like obviously you didn't get picked, and it was tough. Like everyone wants to get picked and stuff, so it was definitely cool like to see like my parents' emotions, just because they would tell me after I didn't get picked, like just keep working, keep like they'd be the ones like like obviously you'd be upset, so it's definitely cool to share the moment with them.
Yeah, you mentioned Sam Gagner there. When he was playing in Belleville, did you get the vibe from him that this was maybe like his last year and he was making one final push, or what was it like having him in the room?
Yeah, it was right from day one. Like he was definitely like a presence in the room. Like whenever he spoke up, everyone listened right away. I think with Gags, like I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew it was kind of in a weird spot where we didn't have like, we had a couple injuries and a couple call-ups, so we really needed like a boost of skill, and he came in and gave it to us, and I was super pumped to I played on the line with him for a couple weekends too, and I was And I remember like he would just give me tips and stuff on the bench, and even like when he was running skill skates with me like in the summer, like we'd recall plays that like he'd be like, remember when you were doing this in this game, and like he was on the ice with me. So it's kind of
That's
cool
sick.
like to like recall those moments. But no, yeah, I didn't get the feeling that it was like even in practices in the summer right now, like he's like looking better than me out there, and I'm like, yeah, it's like it's got. So I didn't know that, but I knew he was trying to get a contract with Ottawa,
Yep.
but I didn't. I had no idea that it was going to be like his last ride.
Well, you have been brought up in multiple interviews by Sam Gagner now that he's in this role. What's the conversations been like between you two now that he's kind of in charge of development down there in Belleville?
Yeah, it's cool. Like I feel like it's kind of cool that we built like a relationship beforehand, because like I obviously trust him a lot, and I really value his opinion. So he's just teaching me like stuff that even he saw while he was playing, like getting to the middle of the ice, like being comfortable in uncomfortable spots. And I think like I worked with him all of June so far, and just seeing like the time and energy he puts into me it's really like rewarding for me, and I'm really excited to get to work with him.
What's the day-to-day in Toronto for you right now? If you're working with him, what are you up to?
Yeah, like I'm going to Matt Nickel, and he goes out of like the Scotiabank Pond area. So I've been working out with him all of June, and then Sam's been running some skill skates for me, and then Shelly just came up to Toronto to work with me for a couple days. So I've been getting a good blend of like different types of training, and Maddie's been unbelievable with me. Like I'm going to Ohio State for July, but then I'm going back to work out with Maddie and skate at his gym too. Like because all those guys are bar none some of the best players in the NHL. So if I want to get there, sometimes you gotta move away from home even in the summer and train at different places. So I'm really excited. And, I know summer's kind of just in getting into it, but I'm already feel like I've made big improvements.
Well, was it last year or 2 years ago? Didn't you spend a bunch of time in Ottawa during the summer?
Yeah, no, I did. Like, I think Matt's place is like similar to that, and then obviously like Shelly's like unbelievable human, driving to come and see me a couple of times. So I'm really grateful for them.
You
Yeah,
got to
she seems
put in a good
awesome.
word. You got to put in a good word with Shelly. Every time we message, she's like, "Yeah, I'd love to come on, but I'm so busy." So we got to get her on.
She's
All of energy though, eh?
Oh, you got to get her on. She'd have some
I know.
unbelievable stories. Hopefully none of me, but
I want to ask
she'd
about
have some
Mark
great
Stone.
stories. Oh yeah. She's worked with. That's kind of the cool thing too, is like she's worked with everyone, and then they were in the same spot as me. Like she's worked with everyone in Belleville. She would like bring up like different guys in Belleville when she would skate me in Belleville. And like one of the biggest things for Shelly this year with me, like I had a rough start to the year, like in terms of like production and like kind of like feeling out. Like I thought I would start off the year pretty well just because of last playoffs. I thought I kind of got the grasp of like what I needed to do every day. And like every rookie, like I went through some lulls, and like I really needed Shelly to come and like kind of give me some confidence with my skating again. And she came and worked with me for a week in Bellzy, got me ice before practice, and I worked with her a lot, and I kind of like started taking off like after those 15 or so games. So I was really owe a lot to Shelly and Bellzy, who get me on the ice. And
Yeah, it's a good crew down there for sure. Stephen, I want to ask you about, I forget when it was, middle of the season sometime. You didn't get officially called up to Ottawa. Like, it didn't seem like it was an official transaction, but you ended up going to Ottawa to skate, and you even practiced with the team, I think. What was the deal there? Like, tell us about that experience.
Yeah, like that was, I think we're over like 4 nations, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You tell me you did
Oh
it.
yeah.
I forget.
No, yeah, it was during 4 Nations, and like I guess Brady wasn't back yet, so they were like they just kind of called me up, and I was super pumped. Like I walked in the room, and I was on like playing with Timmy and G for practice.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, sign me up. So
Definitely.
it was definitely cool, like just to get like they got me like a little bit of a practice like experience. I got to see kind of the pace, kind of got to show me like, okay, like I think I can do this, so then I could work on this when I go back down and type stuff. So I was really grateful they called me up there, and then they called me up again later in the season too, just to kind of do the same thing. And I kind of got to see, okay, I worked on this after the last practice. I think I need to do this to, make it even closer of a step, and then the next practice kind of reevaluate. And then, yeah, so I kind of got some good like benchmark type practices.
Well, clearly those practices left a mark on Timmy. How sick was that clip from our show where we asked him what young player stood out, and he picked a guy he hasn't played a single regular season game with. He named you, man. How cool is that?
Yeah, no, that was really cool. Like he's a great dude. Obviously, like can't say enough good things about him, and for him to have praise for me like that is it means a lot to me. So I was really happy and grateful that he said that.
Man, that's so sick. I don't know if you saw, but he buzzed our hair off. He gave us his barber after March. We saw him at the gala, and he's like, "Hey, if we win that game, man," I said I'd make a donation, Sens Foundation. Obviously, happy to do that. Great cause. And I just texted him a receipt of the donation, $118, the 18 for his number. And he writes back. He goes, "Are you guys free tomorrow morning?" Like, yeah, we're flying out in the afternoon. He goes, "My barber's coming over." It's like, all right, sick. Got the buzzes going, and I'm not saying it's why the Sens made playoffs, but I'm not saying it's not why either. So
Big turnaround.
Good luck, Charm. You guys might have to do it next year.
Yeah, well, hey, you might have to do it. Be on the NHL roster on opening night, man.
I said I would do full bikini wax if the Sens get to the Cup final. If that's what it takes for them to get the Cup.
But nobody's going to want to see you prove it.
No, definitely not. But my hair is available for the Ottawa Senators to have success.
For auction.
That's great.
Yeah. Are you seeing Igor at all at
Yeah.
Gym?
Yeah.
He was there. How's he doing, man?
Yeah, he's doing great. I saw his Belleville Sens autographed jersey on Facebook Marketplace the other day.
For how much?
It was like $250, and I was like, "Oh, they're lowballing you, Igor. Like, you gotta get this at least $500." And he was getting a kick out of it, but he's doing great. I think he's going over to Russia next year.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Well, he's a dad now. He's got to get things together.
Oh yeah,
that's sick, man. Fuck. What an absolute beauty he is. Adam Banak, the last player we covered in our top 50, goes 102 overall. Sens took a goalie with the other pick, guy from the Q.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Lucas Beckman.
Oh.
So there you go. With that, I mean, I think you take a goalie every year. General manager Stephen Halliday, you take a goalie every year?
I don't know, man. You're asking me the tough ones. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe. Sure.
Well, we're not asking you to be smart, man. Like, this show is based on us being complete idiots, man. Mm-hmm. And you know better than anybody. I wanted to pull this up and have a laugh at my own expense. Do you remember our first interaction, Steven?
Like in person?
No. What was that? The Red Blacks game?
Yeah.
I had a couple mimosas.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I mean, first interview, was it?
No, not even interview, just interaction.
Oh, was it Red Blacks?
No. Right after the draft.
Okay.
We, at that point, would we still make this mistake, Pilsy? Probably.
Yes.
So, your name is spelled Stephen.
Yep.
In our draft recap that year, I might have called you Stephen Halliday.
Oh no.
And I get a DM. Very polite. Haha, like the show. By the way, it's Steven, but spelled Stephen. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the love.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Hey, we appreciate the correction. Although we're dumb on this show, if we have an opportunity to not be dumb, we will do our best. So that was a polite way to do that. So we respect that.
How about my reply? Oh, geez. Story, man.
That's all time.
Oh, dear. Oh, geez.
Man, final question for me is, at those practices that you're at in the NHL, you obviously know who the top dogs are, but what stood out most to you? Whether it was a player that impressed you, anything else that you took away from those two practices?
How dialed to and how much those guys want to get better. Like every practice, like or I mean, both practices out there. Timmy's out there early, Brady's out there early, Drake's out there early. You know, like all those guys are out there early, like just trying to get better. And I think like that just like kind of made me like those guys have already like been there, they've done so much, and they're still trying to get better every single day. Like it kind of just showed me that. And then I think like the pace of it's a little bit better, and then I think like being in the right spots, like in the American League, sometimes you can get away with not being in the right spots, or like you can rely on a little bit of other stuff. But I think if you're not in the right spots in the NHL, it really shows. So I think just kind of playing with a bit more pace will eventually help me make the jump. And then I think just like using my hockey IQ and being in the right spots, I think too.
You set goals for yourself in the summer?
Goals in the summer, like I want to get a lot stronger. I've been working with Maddie on my core strength, not getting knocked off pucks. Like you see the playoffs, like all the guys like Sam Bennett. Like I watched all the playoff games at the CTC, like versus the Leafs, like seeing how hard those games are physically, like just being able to, like physically be able to, push people around and stuff. I think that's like kind of the next step towards my game. I think the skills, like, it will be there, but I think that's the next like level my game will have.
Well, it was probably even easier for you, not that it would have been otherwise, but we remember the first time having you on, you said, growing up, I cheered for whoever was playing the Leafs. So first round, Battle of Ontario, what'd you take away from being up in the press box there? I thought you were a black ace there. And what is the life of a black ace look like in the playoffs?
So the first one was just like, it was like that atmosphere at the CTC was crazy. Like I've been to playoff games where it's like in the Caps, like when the Washington, and I've been to Florida, like when they were in the Cup final versus Vegas, and like CTC's like way better. Like they're like they get the white towels going, like everyone's screaming, like every fan in the building's like a passionate fan. Like that was like kind of the coolest thing. And then obviously like just like how little like the games are played on the walls a lot, like being able to pick up pucks and stuff. And then I think I also like just like how hard every inch is on the ice to get. Like both teams are going balls out every game, so that was kind of cool just to be in the building for like those moments and stuff. And like when Sandy scored the overtime winner, like I couldn't even like hear myself talk.
Yep, I was at those games, so I'm with you, Steven. Those were sick. Final question for me. We know you've got a good relationship with Bryce Montgomery, Blake Montgomery's brother, but what can you tell us about Blake and how the season he had with the London Knights, and now he's going to the Wisconsin Badgers?
Yeah, no, he did really, he transferred from the USHL to the OHL, which I thought was like a great move. Like I would have done that for sure if like you could do that back in my day. But yeah, he's really fast. Like that's one thing like he has is he's a big dude, but he's the speed. And then once he like fills out at Wisconsin, like he's gonna be a beast. I think he's gonna be a beast. So definitely a guy you guys will be tuned into every Wisconsin game with Hensler, Montgomery, and
Tyson Dick. Yeah,
it's gonna be sick, man. Are you going to Dev Camp this year? You aged out of that.
I am not going to Dev Camp this year, so
every day is Dev Camp for you, eh?
Yeah,
I mean, you're working with the guys you'd work with there.
They didn't want Grandpa at the Dev Camp.
Oh man, well hey, we wanted Grandpa on this show. You're an absolute beauty, and we always appreciate you. I'll leave you with this, and we might have you on before then, but give us your U.S. Open tennis winner this year. I know you're dialed.
There we go.
Oh, that's a good one. Like Alcaraz, I want to go Sinner here because like it's Alcaraz or Sinner, one of the two.
Isn't Alcaraz like 10-0 against Sinner?
Yeah, but like Sinner's unreal on like that hard, fast, the courts. So like I don't know, like if I'm going like safe pick, I'm going Sinner.
Okay.
But like underrated, maybe like Fritz. He's pretty good. Like he's
I knew you were gonna throw in a young American guy. You always do.
Maybe we'll throw the Fritz in there. But no, thanks for having me on, guys, and thanks for having me on.
You got your bag every day. You're just
ready
dialed in. Love that. You
rocking the Angus. They show this to Angus. Oh yeah,
of course.
Show it to Angus.
Love it, buddy. Appreciate you, man. We'll touch base later this summer.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, there you go. Stephen Halliday. What an absolute beauty. I love that guy so much. Can't wait to see him being a full-time NHLer. He is such a beauty.
Could happen soon.
It definitely
Stay tuned.
could. Huge day.
Let's get into the picks, Ross. While we were
we'll wrap
chatting
with this 7% battery here. We're buzzing.
Okay, good. First off, Blake Vanek. I mean, we knew the Ottawa Senators were going to go for some size and for a player with hockey bloodline. Well, his father, Thomas Vanek, long NHL career. He grew up in the state of Minnesota, or at least I assume so. Now, the numbers don't pop off the page here. He spent some time.
Height does.
Yes, yeah, playing high school hockey, but he dominated there, 53 points in 29 games. Spent some time in the USHL with Chicago Steel, 5 points in 9 games, and U18 and TDP, 6 games, 1 assist, and he's going to be playing in the WHL, so a bit of a different move there, which is interesting with the Wenatchee Wild, the old Winnipeg Ice team, Ross. That's got to be a sore spot for you there.
It is. It makes me sad because if that had been the case a few years ago, and I got lucky, I got a Stapchuk viewings in there and Carson Latimer at the time. But yeah, that's a heck of a frame and super, super raw talent. Doesn't turn 18 until August 16th. So one of the youngest players in this draft class.
Now, does it hurt you to see the Dallas Stars take Cameron Schmidt with the next pick?
No, because we just know the Sens wouldn't have taken him.
The Sens never would have taken him. I bet he wasn't even on their list. And if you're the Dallas Stars, the team that drafted Logan Stankoven, you probably feel pretty confident in betting on a guy like Schmidt this late in the draft. I mean, Jim Nill just won the best GM of the league for the 3rd straight year. So, I mean, that guy's doing something right. By the way, Steve Stais did get 1 third-place vote on.
Did he?
On that award? I forget what it's called. It's just the Jim Nill Award. Kind of crazy. Yeah. Bill Zito didn't win it.
It's the Jim Gregory Award, so it is Jim.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Jim. Blake Vanek not ranked by pretty much anyone, 188th by McKean's. That's pretty much it, but it's interesting that they traded up for that pick a couple spots. They gave up a 2027 7th round pick. So the last pick in the entire draft.
Yeah. So it's a trade back and then a trade up. Very interesting. I got to think they probably didn't need to trade up there, but that's fine. Ross, I got his EP draft page up here. So the elevator pitch. Hulking frame, sounds like an Ottawa Senator pick right there.
Yep.
Strength and a goal scorer's touch. Highlight his game. He's more raw than refined. Sounds like an Ottawa Senators pick, but the upside is palpable. And for the traits they gave him, raw, and sniper. So interesting move for the Ottawa Senators, and very interesting that they traded up to get him. We're getting a tour, MTV Cribs of Ross's house here.
Yeah, we are here. Why don't we move on to the next pick? Because I don't really know a whole lot else about Blake Vanek. One of those guys where he's going to be definitely a man of intrigue at the development camp, because when you trade up for a player, obviously you had him higher on your list than where he goes at 93.
Or Ross, you're worried a team ahead of you is going to take him, not necessarily that you had him higher.
And who cares about a 7th round pick 2 years from now, right?
Yeah, so he gets drafted in the 3rd round, 93rd overall by your Ottawa Senators. Just 4 picks later, the Sens have a selection, and they go back to their trend of drafting a goalie every year. I believe last year was the only year they didn't draft a goalie, right, Ross? In the last 5 years that we tracked. And this year they draft Lucas Beckman out of the QMJHL. Oh boy, I'm going to try it here. Como Drakkar.
Correct.
Nailed it.
Workhorse there, 52 games played.
Our friend Alex, Sens fan in QC, you can let me know if I got that or not. But yeah, 52 games, nice numbers for junior, 2.65 goals against, 0.914 save percentage, 4 shutouts, a good record of 31-18-2. I'm not sure how the Drakkar finished the season, but he did get to go into the playoffs with in 11 games a goals against average of 2.57, 922 save percentage, and a 5-4-2 record. And he did spend some time in Team Canada in the U18s, where he played really well in 2 games, 0.75 goals against, and a 955 save percentage to go along with a 2-0 record. I believe he only started 1 game there. It looks like he either started or came in relief in Norway, but he played the full 60 minutes up against Latvia for a 7-1 win. So,
Hell yeah.
hey, hashtag goalie friendly show. You gotta take a goalie every draft, in my opinion. So I'm glad that they did this here. Oh, and I'm getting a nicely done Pilsy from
hell yeah. One interesting thing about the Lucas Beckman pick is he, unlike Blake Vanek, was ranked really high in a lot of places. Elite Prospects had him 88th overall.
Yes.
Corey Pronman had him even higher at 59th overall. And I believe Craig Button was high on him as well. So what I would say to that, reading all these quickly, is that basically a lack of size is the only downfall. Imagine saying that about a pick of the Ottawa Senators, but it seems like everything foundationally about his game is really advanced. And then you put on top of that, this note here really stood out from the Elite Prospects Draft Guide. It's difficult to find flaws in his game. He tracks pucks well, strong skating, and he doesn't get heavily impacted by screens, which is a huge factor at the junior level for future success, especially at 6'1.5", what he's listed is here. And he had a .914 save percentage, as you mentioned. His backup, who was a 20-year-old overager, had an .872 save percentage. So the difference between when he was in and out, pretty different. So yeah. I really like this bet as a long-term project and adding another goalie to the pipeline here in Lucas Beckman.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm almost surprised they didn't trade up to select him. It seemed like he might have been the guy that was selected, although we're seeing a lot of goalies in this draft. The elevator pitch for EP is strong skating goalie who uses his edges well to remain in position and track plays. A bit of calm added to his game will go a long way. I think probably the biggest detractor from the stats that I'm seeing here is his rebound control could use a little bit of work, and his high danger save percentage in the 10 games tracked by EP was not very good. So he just needs to calm down his game a little bit, and you can see him have success there. But
Craig Button, I'm 39.
Yeah, I'm liking how this draft is going for the Ottawa Senators.
And I think most impressively is adding Jordan Spence.
Agreed. I think, well, I don't know. Now that I'm positive Pilsy on the Logan Hensler pick and seeing the value that they got there and trading back to get him while adding Jordan Spence with one of the draft picks they acquired there, man, it feels so good, Ross, to be giving kudos to the Sens scouting staff and general management. Like, well done. Great 2 days for them.
Could put a cherry on top with a Claude Giroux extension before we record around noon on Monday.
Yes, agreed. That would be very nice.
And there are some people that might take holidays off, but Canada Day on Tuesday is one of the biggest days of the year. Free agency opens. Of course, we'll have podcasts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week here on Locked On Senators. Pilsy, any final thoughts? I mean, you pretty much summed it up pretty nicely there.
Yeah, I did that accidentally. A little final thought closing there. Final thoughts for me is thanks to everybody that's been here the whole time. I've seen in the chat, we've got a bunch of people that have been here the whole time. We're almost at 3 hours here. We've had over 300 people here for most of us.
We've been live longer than I slept last night. Substantially.
That's
like 25 minutes so far. Yeah.
And Ross, where I was going with that is credit to you. This is one of Ross's content ideas to live stream on the second day. You put together all these guests. You got the lineup going. You even got surprise guests on the fly. Great producing. So well done. This was a lot of fun.
It's a great way to kick off the summer, man. We love the draft. And even though it's Locked On Senators, we should almost put in brackets under where it says podcast and say, and NHL Draft, because we dial ourselves in. And now we turn the page to how the Senators can get better. The decor is set, but they still need a backup goalie at the NHL level, whether it's Levi Merlainen, who also needs a contract as a restricted free agent right now, and what they're going to do up front. The big question is Claude Giroux. And if they don't sign Claude Giroux, what are they going to do with that extra money? How are they going to make the team better? But I think if you're an Ottawa Senators fan, you have to have more confidence than ever in this management group after what they pulled off this weekend with asset management and with addressing needs in spades. I can't wait to see who they pick in the fifth. When's their next pick? They have a couple more? They got 2 more, right?
No, I can't keep track of the picks now. They're flying left, right, and center. That it's
No,
so cool.
I got it on Puckpedia here.
Hit me.
Draft picks here. The Sens have the Ottawa Senators will have a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th this year.
Okay, yeah, man. For the Sens to trade back and trade up in consecutive picks, essentially for them, like that's fascinating stuff. So this has been a thrilling draft, and I'm glad we got to do this with other Sens fans and friends of the show.
Yeah, and thank you to all of our great guests that joined us. Henry at SensProspects, Bruce Garrioch in Post Media, the Ottawa Citizen, Ottawa Sun. We had a special appearance from Eddie Garcia from Locked On LA Kings podcast. We also got to catch up with Menno Versteeg from the band Colorado that's making a comeback. You can go see them in November.
Sick. Yeah.
And then Stephen Halliday, just an absolute beauty. Guys standing outside of a hockey arena. He's talked to us from a hockey arena, from the hallway at Ohio State. He's talked to us from just about everywhere. I think he did one from the dressing room.
In the dressing room. Yeah.
This guy is so friggin' funny. So yeah, if you missed any of the show, you can go back and check out all of that. We will have our next episode available Monday afternoon, unless news breaks. For now, we say thank you so much for joining us for a very special day 2 of the NHL Draft live stream. If you want to learn about any of the picks, we got 50 draft profiles available on YouTube. I love the draft every year. Hopefully it's centralized next year, but great to see all these kids accomplish a huge goal in their lives. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Please subscribe to the show. Helps us out very much. And if you have ideas for the Ring of Honor this summer, leave them in the comments below, not in the chat, in the comments below. Let's get some GSGs in the chat. Love that. GSGs in the chat. For Pilsy, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been a very special edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.